probably get to the change list pretty soon.
You guys have one of those, so go crazy. Like I said, I just wrote meter. That's all I got.
Okay.
Do you want to just start with the obvious?
Yeah, you're first.
Black Adam. And I think we're kind of on the same page here. I literally just want to nerf his damage by about 35%.
Ooh, 35%.
Like, I even did the math. 35% I think is the happy number. That's going to please everybody.
Well, I think we're probably on the same page in terms of just damage. In terms of Black Adam kind of has a touch of death. I mean, particularly with the orbs. And Ketchup and Mustard show this disgusting thing. If he has the orbs up and he does a meter burn roll, all the orbs instantly hit you. So if you're under 10% life, he will instantly kill you. My issue with that is I actually don't think Black Adam's tools are all that good outside of his damage. Now, they're top 10 tools, but he's no wake-up game at all. His Oki is not that good. His lightning is very... And I'm still talking about a top 10 character without this. But in the interest of absolute fairness, I think 35% may be a bit strong. I was thinking maybe more 20%. He'd still be maybe a top 5 character. But the idea here for me is essentially I don't want to over-nerf him. If we take off 20% and it's still too much, then we can go to 35%. But considering his a total lack of wake-up and a lack of pressure, now he doesn't need the pressure, but however, I'd be a bit hesitant with obliterating his damage to the degree of 35%.
I don't know if it's obliterated because his tool, even with 35%, and I counted, his tools and damage are still better than Blue Beetle, who I think is very competent. So maybe I'll meet you halfway. Let's say we'll make it 25%.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Cooldown on trait.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Okay.
And maybe make... I mean, no, that would be far too much enough. I mean, if you want to really fuck up Black Adam, you'd make it so you can't connect a dive kick after a meter burn dive kick, which would make him a very fair character. But I think that'd be really much.
That's the thing. Like, even raw non-meter dive kick can be made safe if the distance is done right. It's almost like a shitty bird low if you decide to go that approach. It's
he is like a shitty bird low that hits like a fucking truck.
Yeah, and I think even with I still think with the 35%, he'll probably be fine. I think we'll get to Deadshot later, but I think if you do nerf Black Adam and Deadshot, we're gonna see how fucked up. I'm sorry, Black Adam and Aquaman, we're gonna see how fucked up Deadshot really is. Because I think the only reason we're not seeing more Deadshots is because Black Adam bodies him, and Black Adam and Aquaman take way less work.
Oh well, Deadshot is probably the leading. He's the leading candidate for my secondary right now. So I'd be interested to get onto him. But yeah, I'd agree with you that in general the problem with Black Adam is he hits too fucking hard, and it's the most simple fighting game problem. He's a well-designed character. He's a very solid character. He's lacking some tools, but most of his tools are fine. The problem really is he just hits too fucking hard. I mean, you fuck up once against Black Adam, you're losing 70% of your life bar. And it's unpalatable.
I mean, even off just a meter burn back 3, he gets 526 damage off a basic day 2 combo. Like basic, like fucking like Lego shit. Like very easy stuff to do. Like that's not even like the max potential damage probably. But okay, I think we're pretty much on the same page here.
Yep, pretty much.
Do you want to jump into Deadshot then with your changes?
Yep. Let me bring up that page there. Because I've got like several Microsoft Word things open. Okay, Deadshot. Yeah. I'm a bit iffy on Deadshot. I think Deadshot has strong tools, and I would agree with you that Deadshot is kind of fucked up. His zoning is very good. His mix-ups are great. His 4-2-3, his 1-2-3, his back 1-2 up 3, his back 1-2 up 3 in particular is a great mix-up. And more importantly, even though they don't lead to huge damage, they build space, which really helps with his zoning. On the other hand, I think Deadshot actually, I think with more work on the character, I think Deadshot will go down. Now, I agree with you fully, and I take your point that people are talking about Deadshot not being as good as we thought. He is as good as we thought, it's just that their character's better than him, and in particular he gets fucking wrecked by Black Adam. But he gets wrecked by Catwoman. He gets fucking wrecked by Catwoman's jump 2 or jump 3, the whip one. That fucking wrecks him.
Okay.
He lacks huge combo damage. So if you look at the likes of Black Adam, of say Superman, of Harley. Harley hits like a truck of Batman. He doesn't have that kind of damage. His B&Bs really are his bullets, his zoning. So in terms of nerfs I would give to Deadshot, it's a little tricky, because the last thing I want to do nerfing Deadshot is to do what we did with Deathstroke, which is I think he was nerfed too hard. I know Deathstroke was still perfectly fine, but in people's eyes, Deathstroke was murdered. He was essentially sacrificed. With the tools Deadshot has, I'm not sure you can take him out of the top 10 without a massive nerf hammer. I guess what I would do, and the only thing, and I'd be interested to hear your opinion, but the only reasonable thing I can think of doing is just giving him more recovery on his zoning tools, his BF, his back forward 1, for instance. That's essentially the only thing all of his zoning tools in particular, but that especially. The other thing I think you could do is reduce the damage on his rifle. The rifle's a bit of a guesswork because it's low and there's a lot of frames involved. But if it hits and you can hit confirm it into meter burn, you're talking 20% damage and you're talking a huge amount of chip. So I think reducing that might be the way to go, and adding recovery on his back forward 1. But my issue with Deadshot is, as I said before, kind of the opposite to Black Adam. It's not the damage he does, it's his tools. And I'm very hesitant to take away a character's tools without having maybe an adequate replacement, if that makes sense. So what do you think, then? What's your opinion on Deadshot?
I'm actually probably more conservative than you even. I actually wouldn't touch his zoning. I would leave his zoning alone completely. I would make him a true zoner, which means his back 1-2 is going to be negative 16 on block. There's none of this negative 1 bullshit. That's ridiculous. So it's still a good tool, but now he has to commit to the third input, which is unsafe. At least. Yep. Oh dear God, I hope it's right. It is unsafe, right? Okay.
The down 3 is very unsafe. The up 3 is less unsafe, but you can still punish it.
Okay, and so that's how I would fix that problem. Okay. And if he does decide to do just back 1-2, it's still a good high-low. I mean, people are calling it a gimmick, but everything's a gimmick. People call anything a gimmick if there's instances where it may not work. Or, I mean, if a smart player can beat it, obviously that goes for a lot of things. But we need to neutralize that. He doesn't need mix-ups like that, in my opinion. The other thing I would do is I would make his EX knee negative 20 on block, just like his vanilla knee. That way, it would still work as a reversal. I would even give him a damage buff. Okay, it's unsafe, but he gets more damage if he EXs it. I'd be okay with that. But I think he needs to be less safe on any sort of up-close tool, and that's a good example. Well, go on, say more.
No, I think that's very fair. On the back 1-2, I think if you're going to take away the safety on the meter burn knee, his meter burn back 4-3, I think giving him more damage for the meter burn is probably the way to go, because otherwise you take away the utility of it, because there's no real damage off the meter burn. It doesn't cover ground that well, and it doesn't combo. So I think you would need to make it fair, you'd need to jack up the damage a little bit on the meter burn. But I think overall that's probably a fair way to do it. I mean, when I was looking at Deadshot, I was focusing mainly on the zoning. I mean, I used the mix up as Deadshot. Essentially, if someone gets too close, then I'll mix them up, because his back 1-2 and his 1-2-3 have great range. But yeah, I think that's probably a fair way to do it. I mean, he'll probably still be top 10. Maybe not top 10, definitely top 15 for zoning. He'll still be a scrub killer online. But that's probably a fair way of nerfing him at a higher level. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I need to either play against it or I need to see it more in tournament. And I'm not saying that tournament results should dictate patching, but I'm not convinced yet. I need to see it work before I think the zoning is really like an S tier tool. I need to see it happen. Maybe, I mean, on paper it looks good, but before the game came out on paper, I thought it looked bad. I was like, this is not nearly going to be as good as Firestorms. We all say stupid shit before games come out, but that was my stupid shit. So yeah, that's all I would change with Deadshot. I really don't want to change too much. I think right now he's pretty close to fair. He's not quite there yet.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I guess Aquaman next.
I'm gonna jump in here a second.
For sure.
I'm sorry, I don't have anything to say about Deadshot. I agree. I agree passionately with what you guys said. I'm a frothing idiot, so keep that in mind here. I was just watching a piece of that Watchtower stream from earlier today. It's so fucking weird. I didn't see this happening there, but when Sub-Zero does his enhanced ice ball, and he's doing it against Superman's lasers, the laser animation doesn't change, but it turns the lasers inactive, and they still go through him, but it doesn't do any damage. It looks really fucking weird, but that didn't click with me. He's like, okay, so even if he goes up in the corner, flies up and does the air eye lasers, meter burned or not, the meter burned ice ball deactivates it when it contacts them, so you still see yourself getting hit by the lasers, but the lasers aren't doing anything to you. They're just there, if that makes sense. It's weird, but I'm glad to see that it works that way.
Well, I guess probably the reason for that is I'm no animator, but if the meter burn ice ball were to cancel the animation, then as soon as the animation drops, Superman is going to drop back down. So it could be the idea that he may have time to drop back down, block, and then 4-2-3, and he's away in a half.
And I don't know what I was assuming. Like, I guess I was assuming that it would just turn, like, just the lasers off, the light part of it, and he would go through the rest of his animation normally.
Yeah, they may have tried that, but it might have looked a bit wonky.
But that's not the case. But I am glad just to see that that's the case. The ice ball is deactivating his eye lasers completely when they hit it. That's good, because those things hit me a lot, like we discussed earlier. So
I love those things.
Thumbs up. It's still weird because I'm like, he's getting hit as shit. Why isn't that doing anything? He's not armoring because there's no chip or anything. Well, I mean, that's what it is.
Off the top of my head, I think the eye lasers are the only projectile on the game that have like a continuous animation, and that in terms of projectile coming out.
Yes,
so take the batarang. Batarang is thrown, and you can just take out the batarang. Whereas the eye lasers are constantly emanating from supers. So that probably had a unnecessary complication. But yeah, I didn't even notice that actually. That's good. That's a good spot.
That's it's interesting, and I'm glad to see, like, it makes sense on paper and it's logical. But I'm glad to see that's the case in the game. It's good stuff. Had nothing to do with balance patches. Sorry to interrupt, you guys.
Hey, that's okay. Like, this is the Sub-Zero episode, man. Like, I did not notice that, so I will be looking for that for sure.
And I'm just happy that more projectiles I see that thing negating, the better. I am really interested, like Razor said before in the thing, to see what it does against, like, Deadshot's rifles and whatnot. I don't expect it to eat all that.
Yeah, Deadshot's down back 2 would be the issue, where he spins back and fires off 4 or 5 bullets.
Yes,
because that's what I think makes Deadshot potentially a good matchup against Atrocitus. Because if he gets the kitty wall out, then Deadshot can just kind of negate that very quickly. I don't see why you don't see more counter picks on that, but we'll get on to Atrocitus, I'm sure.
But was there any precedent in MKX for what the enhanced ice ball, like how many projectiles it will eat?
I think it ate everything, didn't it? I mean, I think the enhanced ice ball shut down the entire screen on MKX.
I don't think it has, like, hits of armor. I think it is just immutable. It's there.
Okay. You know? Well, good. Well, okay. Well, in that case, then it would take care of Deadshot's multi-bullet things if you get it out first. That's interesting and fun to think about in theory crafting. But yeah. Okay, you guys go ahead, do your thing. Give them hell in there, man.
Well, we'll try to go through it quick. My Aquaman's probably my biggest hit. I think I changed it more than anyone else. I'm basically gonna sterilize his fucking zoning. Tentacle Strike is gonna go from 22 frame startup to no, actually, hold on. Let me get my frame date out. I want to make sure I don't fuck this up. Hold on. Pending. It's gonna go from 19 startup frames to 22 startup frames. Okay. And it's going to go from 24 block frames to 28 block frames. And basically, that just allows for more time for forward movement. Because the paradox of Aquaman is, even though his zoning's not broken, his aura of where he can damage you and his mid-range attacks is so big. So once you start getting in, you have to worry about so many fucking things because his range is so good. So they stacked good zoning on top of that. So I'm just going to get rid of it. His zoning's going to be shit now. Negative 28 on block, 22 frame startup. He's never going to get a consecutive tentacle ever again. That's the first thing I would change. But I am going to let him keep all his bullshit plus frames. His 1-1-2-3 is going to keep its 7 plus frames for reasons. I'm going to let him keep that. And I'm going to let him keep his... his damage is going to get hit a little bit, but not nearly as hard as Black Adam. And I'm going to let him keep his -5 on... Actually, yeah, we'll keep EX Trident Rush as -5. That's the big change. And I would say that's it, but that's a lot. That completely transforms the character. That tentacle strike is going to be purely a way to check your opponent. It's basically going to be like a safe version of Sub-Zero's slide, but well, without the consecutive nature, of course. But yeah, that's my Aquaman.
Okay, my change was literally the exact opposite. I would have left I would have left the zoning entirely to itself.
Okay.
I would have been changing his block strings and his frame traps, because the way I look at Aquaman, in terms of his transition from Injustice 1 to Injustice 2, the problem with Aquaman with Injustice 1 is that he essentially had meterless launches. So he had meter to really launch it with from the deep, and he had meter to use that motherfucking trident. But in Injustice 2, he doesn't have a meterless launch, to the best of my knowledge. What he has instead are the frame traps, so he uses block strings. And therefore you get people in block strings and you build meter. So it defeats the purpose of it. If you're going to make the limiting factor of Aquaman a limit of meter, that you can either choose to launch people, or you can choose for damage, or you can choose to have your meter burn trident. If that's your idea, then it makes very little sense, in my view, to give him frame traps, to give him block strings. If you're then conditioning people to block, they're going to start blocking, you're going to start racking up meter very, very quickly. So my idea was essentially to leave his zoning alone entirely, and to take away a lot of his plus strings. I didn't do the maths. That was just an overall conception, that you take away the plus strings, you make Aquaman a more risky character to play, I think. And mine would probably be a more damaging nerf, I think. I don't think I touch his damage, because, to be fair, if I'm taking that away, I think I need to leave him as damage. But to me, that just seemed the obvious change to Aquaman, because I think Aquaman is probably, alongside Batman, as having the best overall tools in the game. In conjunction with good zoning, good footsies, good AA, and that was just the change that occurred to me to be the obvious one to make. But I see the point of view with zoning as well.
Yeah, I get the reason, and this might just be a different strokes kind of thing, but I like the archetype better of the mid-range brawler, the frame trapper with crazy footsie options. That is just more interesting to me than the tentacle guy. That, to me, the tentacle guy is just not as cool of an archetype. And the mix is never going to work. I think one of them has to give. So technically, we're both right. You chose to kind of take away the high damage plus frames weirdo. I chose to take away the. I guess I don't even know what kind of zoner to call him, but the fucking.
He's a weird
zoner. He's
a weird zoner. It's fucking really weird. But I mean, those are the only two things. Sorry, I popped in out of nowhere. Those are
please.
I mean, those are the two things. Like, it has to be one of them, because them both being good is crazy. What are you doing? His fucking, I don't know. I'm listening to you guys, and I'm rolling this around in my brain, and I'm like, which one do I, whatever. I don't know. It's funny. At the beginning, I would have been like, yeah, nerf his strings. They're really good, especially because, like, I do play with the dick stick. I love the dick stick, and I'm all about staff tier. And I'm like, I have my staff stance, and his buttons are just better. His frames are way better. They're fast on startup. They recover really well. Like, this is crazy, but I don't want him to be a zoner. Like, I don't want that to be where he excels. I would rather see the emphasis on a really good staff tier character, because this game doesn't really have that going on for it. Because the dick stick is a fucking ability. So I would rather see, like, that's where he's strong, weaken him elsewhere to kind of balance that out. It is a personal preference thing. It definitely is. Like, it's one or the other, and I'm not sure. Like, I don't think there's a right answer, or a better answer, really.
Yeah, I think we came at it from the same perspective, as one of these things has to go. We just picked different ones.
Even on the damage, like, you agreed your damage kind of had to stay if we go your route, and I agreed his damage has to be toned down if we go my route.
Precisely.
But I will say this, though. I think mine's more fun. I think I would have more fun playing my Aquaman. He sounds all stabby. He's almost like Wolverine. It sounds so... I love the idea of Aquaman when I saw the first Injustice trailer back in 2013. I was like, oh, shit, this looks fun. Oh, man, he's got some sick mid-range. And then I dropped him day 2 because he was so brain dead. That's what I want to fix. I want to make him smarter. You know,
I kind of like the idea of Aquaman as just almost a YOLO, just fuck it, constantly attack, constantly be unsafe, but you do so much damage it kind of balances out. That's how I think Aquaman should play with his tools.
Gotcha. Okay, interesting.
See, yeah, it really is like those are two extremely valid philosophies. So who knows how that they might approach that? They're probably going to approach something. They're probably going to approach Aquaman way dumber than either of you just came up with.
I don't think they'll touch Aquaman actually.
Well, I mean,
I don't think there'll be significant changes to Aquaman. I don't think there'll be significant changes in the balance patch at all, if I'm being honest. But definitely not to Aquaman.
He's hard. Like he's one of the like. It's easier to find. I think it's easier to find places where if you're gonna chisel, you can chisel on characters like a Batman. There's a thing here or there. Like it's not a big deal. That you could probably like he's good anyway. He doesn't need to have this in addition to everything else. Black Adam. Aquaman though, like it's tough.
I mean, Aquaman was top 3 and he was top 3 in Injustice 1. He's top 3 in Injustice 2. He's just a good character.
He is. And I don't want to see that change. Aquaman should be good. He's fucking Aquaman. But just like I like staff tier. I'm a big fan of staff tier, and I like just conceptually the idea of like this dude. If you're in range of his staff, he's gonna fucking wreck you with that shit. It's gonna be crazy and dumb, but he's got to get you into a certain range to be that badass staff user. But it's got to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be, like you said. It could be nothing. We'll see. I do not mean to keep slowing you guys down. I do apologize.
Is Temp dead again?
Temp is...
No, it's still here. It's all good.
Is again very dead. Who's next?
Oh, I'm alive. Will you go first this time, Evan? Let's do Batman, because I know Django's gonna have a lot to say about this.
I am not gonna have a lot to say about this. Batarang, jump 2.
Yeah, we'll have at least one thing to say about this for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, Bats is a really good character. He's got okay. So just as my notes on him, fuck it, I have a lot of notes on Batman. So he's huge damage. He's pressure. He's mix-ups. He's great zoning. He has jump 2. His Oki game isn't great, nor is his wake-ups. Pressure. He has a true vortex. Actually, yeah, I think that's slept on. Batman actually has a true vortex. I don't think there's any other vortex characters in this game, but he builds bar very easily. One thing I will say about Batman is, I think there's 2 kinds of Batman. There's the Batman we all have now, which is a fairly pick up and play character, a couple of hours in the lab and that's it. I think there's another level to Batman, and I think if King keeps plugging away at him, he could reach that. I think next level Batman was probably the best character in the game. In terms of changing it, I think if you start to change Batman's best tools, then you are going to... I think you run a risk of crippling Batman as a character. So if you... Now, that doesn't mean you can't tone down his jump 2. His jump 2 should be toned down. But I think if you nerf it too much, you take away his probably his main tool. Similarly for his Batarang. So in terms of the changes I would make to Batman, I think the main one would be his trait. I think he should start the game with 0 trait. So if you look at other characters who build trait over time, so say main 4 ones that pop to mind would be Bats, Supergirl, Firestorm, Bane. Most of them will start with empty traits. So Firestorm, for instance, starts with empty trait. I think if the rest of the character is good and they're not too dependent on the trait, then it should start empty. So Firestorm, for instance, should probably start with 1 bar. I know I suppose we'll get on to Firestorm later. But say Supergirl needs to start with full trait. Bane needs to start with at least some trait. Batman doesn't. Batman should start with maybe 1 bat, preferably 0, because I think all of his tools are good, but what really makes him borderline unfair is the way he can use his bats to either get in or to cover his ass if he fucks up.
I agree. This is a good idea. Batman is all about you give him time, he gets stronger.
Yeah.
That's Batman's whole fucking stupid character shit. With prep, Bat can be anybody. So start him weak. If you get in and hit him hard really fast, that's what you want to do. Don't give him time to plan and prep. Then you're fucked.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I think that's probably the core of my ideas. The other thing I do is I would make 4-3 negative on block. I'd make it categorically unsafe because as it stands, it's too good a tool for him. Don't think he needs it. Catwoman has the best 4-3 in the game. Batman's isn't far behind and he doesn't need it. What else would I do? Probably more recovery on the Batarang because you can get them out too quickly, or shorten the animation so that he doesn't create as much space as he backdashes. And probably increase damage scaling, particularly for his 1-2-3 combo, the scoop. I'd probably increase damage scaling quite a bit on that. Other than that, I'm not sure there's a huge amount I can do with Batman because I'm very, very cautious about over-patching, and I appreciate that Batman is kind of fucking ridiculous, but I don't want, at this point, to kind of cripple him if it turns out long-term there were strategies to cope with him. So that's me. Thoughts?
I agree. I like Batman has to be. It's weird that I have opinions. I don't even have. You guys have Word documents over there. I don't have any shit. It has to have.
You have a Word document too, right?
Well, I do, but it literally says meter period.
That counts.
It's a Word document. I mean, a document is a document.
Well, okay. Yes, you're okay. I'm very well prepared then. Yeah, like. There's this fun thing about these DC games that doesn't exist in Mortal Kombat, I feel. Batman has to be good. He needs to be good. He's fucking Batman. Superman has to be good. Etc. But, like, I wish that was the case in other fighting games. In Mortal Kombat, Goro should have been really good in MKX. What the fuck? How does that... He's Goro. He was the champion for, like, however many lore years he was champion for. Dude. You can't have Batman sucking in this game, so you gotta be easy. But I wanted to ask a question. I'm like 99% sure I'm remembering correctly, but he didn't move back with the Batarang in Injustice 1, right? That's new.
No.
Okay.
Injustice 1 Batman wasn't bad. I think I've seen some people argue he was top 10. I don't think he was. He was perfectly viable. He was an all-rounder. He'd good mix-ups, but the moving back Batarang is a big change they've made. I think Batman's one of the most overhauled legacy characters, and it's hard not to reach the conclusion that they overhauled Batman with the specific intent of making Batman really fucking good.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, like that's the thing. That's what those are the things that make Batman good. It's like, why does the jump, the cross up hitbox reach so far? Like, it's just a dumb thing, an easy way to make sure this character is good because he has to be good. He's Batman. I feel like that's a thing that's at play here. We want to make sure that Batman doesn't suck. So there are easy ways to do that. It's the same with his trait. His trait's just fucking good in a 2D fighting game. There's no way that can't be good. It's not very Batman-y any more than it is.
It's not a very Batman-y trait.
It's not a Batman-y trait at all. And the cross-up isn't particularly Batman-y either. It's more so than the trait, but it's still like, this is just a good fighting game thing that is really good for fighting games, not the most Batman-y thing in the world. So, I agree with pretty much all your points there. I don't want, and I don't want him nerfed too much. I don't want him. That's why I'm scared. I'm scared of patches, and I'm just like, meter. Just look at that, because.
Well, the meter change
I
would
like
be a
what's
huge
going
nerf
on.
to Batman. If the meter change would be a big change to Batman.
Well, yeah, it would have to be, because I mean, Forever King, whatever you can, you can move across the screen just using Batarang mobility, and you're building meter while you're doing it. Like that's crazy.
And your trade is building up at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the thing. Batman, you give him time, he gets stupid strong. It's interesting though. They gave Batman's Injustice 1 Batarang to Robin as an ability, and it's good. It's the exact same as it was in Injustice 1, but with Robin, it turns into like a combo extender, because it cancels the combo into that thing, and that thing recovers super fast. You don't move, so you're right where you were, and your range is really good. It's fucking crazy. If I had that thing, and if any Robin had that elsewhere, you would see like 30 hit combos regularly with Robin. It's nuts. But it is interesting going in there and seeing Robin use that one, then jumping into ranked and seeing Batman have his new one. And it's like, I wonder what they were thinking. Were they just thinking like, man, Batman, you know, he needs to be better. How do we make a Batarang that's better than it was? It's already pretty good. Let's make it dumb. And they did. Good job. Sorry. That wasn't really constructive.
No.
It wasn't really constructive. It's just interesting to see it like side by side in the same video game because Robin has it as an ability. It's interesting. You know what else he has? He has an ability. He has Nightwing's thing from the first game, pretty much. You jump up and just throw a downward diagonal Batarang. It's good. I kind of wish he had that in normal because that wouldn't be crazy for him. Because that's only handy, like, in very specific situations. The downward diagonal thing. It's that might be something they could look at, but I don't know. Anyway, sorry, you guys have way more data. Keep going. Temp.
No,
Batman.
I mean, what you guys are saying, I think, is the consensus.
One more thing. He definitely
Yes.
needs this. This needs to happen. Fucking every fighting game character should always say the move you're doing when you're doing it. I think we can all agree with this. When you throw a
Yes.
Hadouken, you say Hadouken. If you do a
Throw a
short,
shadow kick, you throw a shadow kick.
Exactly. Whenever Batman does a move, he needs to say, "I'm Batman." It's
Dude,
in the game.
fucking...
It's in the game. Kevin Conroy says it a
does have
billion times.
Yeah, he does have a great "I am Batman" clash code.
He does every like you do the cross up. Like the devs know when he has the stupid shit. When he does stupid shit, he needs to say it. Just fucking say it and own it, man. Every time he does a Batarang, I'm Batman. I'm Batman. Just fucking.
That would be tight.
He can keep everything.
Fucking-
He can
me and
keep
Redman-
everything.
Me and Redman were just talking about this, dude. You know how Ryu's like Hadouken? Fucking
Yes.
Gorilla Grodd needs to be like Secret Sweep. That would be so fucking tight. Oh god,
Just-
that would be badass.
I wish these things were a thing that's more common overall. Say the fucking move you're doing because it's a fighting game.
But I'd rather have Superman just every time Superman does a heat zap, just call the other player a bitch.
Okay,
Bitch.
see?
Bitch.
See?
I mean, that's
Okay.
almost canon at this point.
Basically,
really.
yeah.
It is, for Injustice Superman, like the Dick Superman, it's like, I don't know,
Yeah,
I don't know, just something like, you know, I'm, like, you deserve it, or, nah, bitch is better, you're right.
I just think Injustice Superman goes a little far even for me in the bad ending when he transforms people into like mindless servants. That was a bit strong for my taste.
Yeah.
That would've been-
I enjoyed it, but I hope that's not the way they go.
But they can't go that way. They won't go.
I thought killing Shazam was a little strong, but that definitely happened.
I don't know. I think I know Temp's a Shazam fan, but Shazam can get pretty fucking annoying. I mean, the problem is Superman just killed what is technically an 8-year-old child, but yeah.
Yes, that's the problem.
That's the
He froze an 8-year-old child's mouth closed and burned a hole through that 8-year-old's head. Which character are we on? Yeah, see.
Temp's Batman, I think, is where we're at.
Yes.
We're still on Batman.
We're still on Batman, yes, sir.
That's fine. Do it up.
Let me start with where I agree. I definitely agree on the trait. Not only would I start at 0, actually, that wasn't in my notes, but starting at 0 I think is fair. I would increase the amount of cooldown time. I think that would help normalize Batman quite a bit. I also agree on the zoning. I would make his Batarang -11 on hit, or on block, as opposed to -5 on block. I think that's a little ridiculous. For the startup, I mean, I feel like you fix the startup issue when you fix the block negative frames issue. Here's where I would not change. Since we're on the Batarang, I would still keep the EX Batarang as 25 plus frames, because that's part of his pressure setups. I think this pressure is the most interesting part of Batman. He's kind of like, well, we'll get to that in a second. So I'd keep that there, but I would not make any changes to his jump 2. It is disgusting. The jump 2 is obnoxious, but it's the most interesting thing about him. The Batman Jump 2 is kind of like the Injustice equivalent of MK9 Johnny Cage Forward 3. And I feel like I think the better way to go is let him keep what's interesting, tone down the zoning a bit, and then remove the damage. That's how I would approach him. Now, that said, he would still be really good. He'd still be ridiculous. But I think the problem with Trait is the Trait makes him not lose a single matchup more than 6-4. Which, I mean, I wish everyone didn't have anything worse than a 6-4 matchup, but with a Trait, lets him get on any character in the game almost. It opens up everybody. So it's really good. That needs to be toned down, but I can't see toning down his jump 2, because he still has to get in. He still has to get near you, and I don't know. People say you can't anti-air it. I don't know. I've anti-aired quite a few jump 2s. It's shallow. That's the problem. So if he does 2-2, jumps in, if I'm close to the opponent, I'll do the jump 2 early, and that means it'll hit. I don't know if it'll cross up, but at least I get to continue my pressure. If I'm sweep distance, I'll do it late. I get that cross up. Anything in between is ambiguous, and I love that. It's gross, but it's my favorite thing about him. So I want to at least keep that, because even as Batman stands, I don't think he's as bad as like MK9 pre-patch Kung Lao. I don't think he's as bad as Black Adam is currently. I just think he's a stupid, fucked up character, and that's okay. But I definitely want to leave the jump 2 alone. It's too much fun. So the zoning will nerf. We'll keep the EX plus frames, and we'll basically knock down Trait 100 notches. So more cooldowns start at 0. That's where I stand with Batman. Thoughts?
So it's almost like the exact same with Aquaman.
Yes.
You'd nerf the zoning. I'd nerf his up close game.
Yes.
I think that's fair enough. You almost lost me with the -11 on Batarang, but if we're keeping jump 2, then yeah, that's a fair trade.
Yeah, and also I don't even mind like you said, nerf the damage on 1, 2, 3. Believe it or not, I don't use that string very often.
Really, that's my B&B.
Well, the reason is because the first hit's a high, so I'd rather do 2-2 just to get those 2 mids. And the startup frames, it's a few more startup frames, but you can down the 1, 2, 3 anyway on startups. So if I'm getting that jump 2, 2-2, maybe I'll commit to the 3. It just depends on what the opponent wants to do and what I think the opponent might do. So it is a good string, but for some reason, whatever reason, I approach Batman with a 2-2 more often. I don't know. Batman's a very flexible character.
He is. You can play Batman as you like him.
And I love that. I definitely don't want to lose that. So I definitely want to keep some zoning in there, but I fucking love that jump 2. Love it. And that's my Batman. That's
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I mean, I think he'd probably still be top 5 even with that.
Yeah, he's gonna be absolutely ridiculous. I think like Aquaman, he'll never not be ridiculous. Deadshot will probably never not be ridiculous. We're just trying to make them within the realms of reason, I guess. But I guess the next supposedly broken character is Atrocitus, but I didn't really put anything down for Atrocitus. I literally just said more cooldown. I would literally just increase the amount of cooldown on trade. Do you have anything for Atrocitus?
Oh yes. I fucking hate this character so fucking much. He is unbelievably brain dead. Now he doesn't really suit me, in that he's a very, very aggressive up close character. But with the trade out, he just becomes ridiculous. Now, cooldown on trait would be one thing, but there's several other things I think you can do. He ticks way too much with his vomit. Considering that with the trade out and in the corner, you can get 3 or 4 vomits in one combo. It's far too much. I think there should be more scaling on that. His back 2-3-3 string with Dexter out is +5 on block, and you can get that locked into a 10 hit block string. So that pressure can go eat a dick. That should be dropped down to maybe +2 or maybe even neutral. His blood NATO hits low, so that's an eternal mix-up. The problem with that essentially is his back forward 2, his dash is a medium. It's a safe medium, whereas his blood NATO is unsafe. And when you mix that with his forward 2-2-3 string, you end up with medium overhead. Now you either end that with medium overhead, You can, which is unsafe. You can end it with a blood NATO, which is medium, medium overhead, medium safe, or you can end it in I beg your pardon, that's ending it in the back forward 2 in the push runge, or you end it in the blood NATO, which is medium, medium overhead, low, unsafe. So essentially, he's way too many fucking mix-ups. Then in the corner, he has too many restands. Dex is far too powerful in my view. Now he's very, very heavy on set play. So again, it doesn't suit me, but I think I think I noticed Temp. He isn't in your top 5. I think he's my top 3. He's 3 for me.
Yeah, he's in my number 6 exactly.
6? God, no, he's definitely top 3 for me. What I would do is I would make his vomit tick significantly less, and once you use vomit, I think the combo should start scaling with that. So vomit to me should be a combo ender, not a combo extender. Less plus frames on his back 2-2-3, make his back forward 2 unsafe, make his forward 2 maybe 3 or 4 more frames, and more cooldown on Dex. I think that would probably do it. Again, I think people would probably get used to Atrocitus. If you leave it as it is, I think he'll probably end up fringe top 10, but I don't like the character. It's probably because I don't like the character archetype, whereas I like the zoning. I don't like Atrocitus, the way Atrocitus plays, but that's what I do. I dislike watching Atrocitus immensely. I think he's silly. I mean, they've nerfed it now. One of the bug fixes they released, there was one where you could call Dex. You could use Dex while you're in throw state, and that essentially meant that if Dex was out, Atrocitus could combo from a throw to 45% damage, which was fucking ludicrous. That is fucking ludicrous. And I know my overall philosophy when it comes to nerfing is nerf carefully, and with Deadshot and Batman and Aquaman, it's always been, let's be very hesitant and cautious with how we nerf. We don't want to kill this character. I think we should err on the side of over nerfing with Atrocitus, because I think he's bullshit.
I generally agree with just over nerfing in general. I think since Super Street Fighter 4, people want to see buff only, and I think if you had used that philosophy with something like MK9, you would have broken the game even more. Yeah, because if Katana struggles with Kenshi, are you going to buff Katana? Okay, well now you double fuck Sub-Zero. So that's the stuff I don't want to see. I agree, over nerf is the way to go. I'll admit, I mean, and this is just probably this is probably a weakness in my top 10 character list, but I don't play enough or play against Atrocitus enough to really agree or disagree. Everything you said sounds right. Even back when I played against him in the demo, which is probably when I had the most Atrocitus experience, I thought his mix-ups were fucking stupid. So I guess I agree. I mean, the corner stuff has got to go. I definitely agree the corner stuff is too powerful, too much damage. I certainly agree with that. And more cooldown of the trade, as I said earlier, but I can't really disagree or intelligently say otherwise. All that sounds intuitive. If we over nerf him, I'd be sad though. But I always believe in over nerfing as opposed to just buffing the low tier until nobody makes sense anymore. So yeah,
it's an issue of Django's token opinion on these characters is not very good, but it's an issue. There's always the issue of data. What data? I don't have great data to see how effective is this regularly, but I do know the only piece of data I have. Like I said, I play this game a lot. I'm really liking this game. I play it daily, as much as I possibly can. At this point, I don't run into any Atrocituses that body me for free. Robin can actually do okay in that matchup, and Robin sucks. He's the worst character in the game.
I think Robin does okay in that matchup because Atrocitus wants to be in your face.
He does, right. He wants to come over here, and if he's going to come over here, I'm going to give him problems. I'm not trying to defend Atrocitus as far as, don't nerf him too much, but it's a thing. Robin, there's not a lot of characters that don't make me, when they pick them at the side stream, I'm like, oh god, here we go, this is gonna be fun. There's most characters that do that, but at this point, Atrocitus isn't one of them. I'm like, all right, let's see what we got here. that doesn't mean anything. But at this point, like Atrocitus, from what I've seen, he's just not as dominant as I thought he was earlier, and he seemed to be earlier. But it's weird because it's not like, well, if he's not a problem now, that means he's not a problem. That's not really, So it's. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything except that this is complicated. this thing we're doing here, it's complicated. There's a lot of ins, a lot of outs. Some new evidence has come to light. Man, Rug tied the room together.
I think I kind of. What you're saying was my original intuition. I don't really have a pen and paper response in regards to the nerfs. They all sound right, but when I look at Atrocitus in tournament, and I guess in the limited experience I had playing, excuse me, the limited experience I had playing against him, it doesn't feel that bad. But granted, I don't know if I've played any high-level Atrocitus yet, but when I watch him on screen on Twitch, I don't have I don't have that knee jerk. I don't have that. That shock to the nerves. He doesn't feel broken, I guess. A lot of it's an emotional response to the character. I don't have a pen and paper response, but he feels okay. He kind of feels like an MKX character, to be honest with you. When I'm fighting against him, at least.
That's what happens. Any character that wants to get in close feels like an MKX character. That game was all about getting in close, though. That was like... It was 50-50 hell for a reason.
Yeah, it was.
And this game
was rock, scissors, paper.
And that's why I say like Robin feels like an MKX character. Atrocitus, you're right. He feels more like an MKX character. But Atrocitus doesn't have the you're gonna get zoned out problems that Robin has. He's got that trait, man. That cat is buff. It does him favors.
It's a good cat. It's a strong cat.
I do like his win pose when he just pets Dexter for a minute. I think that's kind of cool.
Then
his
he barfs.
mid-round pose.
Then he just... Yeah, that's the mid-round. Okay. Yeah, his barf is just like... Why are you barfing forever? What's going on here? Like, is that cool? Is that supposed to be a cool thing? Or is it just like you're pissed? Like, I don't know. Listen, I don't know the lore.
It's napalm. I think, if I remember correctly, it's the red ring. The red lantern ring replaces your heart. So if you take the ring off, you die, but your blood becomes like boiling napalm instead, and you can project that out of your mouth because you don't need it anymore. And there's all the phrase "being so angry your blood boils." So there's that.
Oh shit! I never thought of that. That's cool.
I think that's the lore.
That sounds like canon to me. And I'm not going to look any further into it, so it's definitely canon. The Red Lanterns are the
stupidest core. I mean, Razor won't thank me for saying this, but the Red Lanterns are one of the stupidest fucking cores.
I mean, you can't really say one of the cores are stupid without saying they're all stupid.
I'll say that Indigo and Red are definitely the stupidest.
They're all.
I agree with Indigo.
I'm
not a big fan of Indigo.
They're all kind of like dumb fun, like Power Rangers are.
Didn't Kara-El, Supergirl, become a Red Lantern in the New 52?
Oh God.
Like a Kryptonian
Red Lantern. There were a
lot
of Red Lanterns in Blackest Night. Mara became a Red Lantern and it was tight. Now, I'm not sure if her heart got replaced by the Red Lantern ring, but it definitely, she was a Red Lantern. It was super
that would have been tight. If Damien's ending from Injustice 1 happened and he became a yellow Fear Lantern, I would have enjoyed that. But, like, anything would have been cooler than what they did with Damien in this game. They took away his hair. They took away a couple inches off of his height. It's just...
They took away his Nightwing. Like, he basically is still Nightwing in the story mode. They just didn't want to implement that in gameplay.
Yeah, it's weird he's, like, Robin. When you look at what he does in the game mode, he's Nightwing. He's Robin in a flashback. Yeah.
Robin exists in one scene in this game, and that's, like, that first prologue chapter.
I mean, it does piss me off that like they almost use Robin and Nightwing as interchangeable, whereas I quite like Nightwing as being just Dick. Nightwing is Dick.
Yeah, because
Dick's my favorite hero from DC, so I don't know.
I agree. I love Dick. I don't think anyone's gonna argue with you that Dick greater than Damien. Like it's not a.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Damien is the worst Robin. I mean, I don't think that's an uncontroversial thing to say.
Boy, man, Damien's somehow winning people over. I don't know how he does it. I only like Damien when he's Dick's sidekick. That's the only time I ever liked Damien.
I like Damien in... I forget which series it is, but there's a series where the four Robins, or the four kind of big Robins, are hanging out with Dick, Jason, Tim, and Damien. And basically every fifth line is somebody telling Damien to shut the fuck up. And it's really enjoyable and cathartic.
Well, he needs to shut the fuck up. Like
He does need to shut the fuck up.
he just
And it's also
fucking
the fact he's
says the
in the comics,
stupidest
he's
shit.
in the comics he's like 13 and he's fighting all these grown villains. And it's like I could give a fuck how hard you've been training with Ra's al Ghul. You're 13.
It's true. But he doesn't get it, you know, and that's why it's fun, because it's like, you know, he fucking does it to Tim Drake. He hates Tim Drake the most. And it's like, I'll kick your ass. I've kicked your ass before. I'll kick your ass again. Tim Drake's like, I have never tried to kick the ass of a 10-year-old in my life, and I'm not going to start doing it with you. Like, sorry, dude. Yeah, sure, you won those fights. I'm sorry for not picking a fight with a 10-year-old. It's like, no one's going to try to kill this kid if they're like a Robin, because it's like, we're not all douchebags. Jason would probably get the closest to do it, but, you know.
Jason probably just shoot him in the back of the head, if we're honest. Jason Todd has issues.
Yeah, Jason has plenty of issues, but like even Jason's like, dude, I'm not gonna wreck a 10, 11, even 13-year-old kid. Sorry, dude. If you want to take that as a win, Damien, then you're a retard. That's cool. That's fine, but you're dummy. Yeah.
I think what we're saying is we'd like to see a Killing Joke sequel with Damien taking the place of Barbara.
I want Barbara to take the place of Barbara. I want her to go back to being Oracle so bad.
Man, Damien would be the worst Oracle, though.
I'd love to see Damien as Oracle. Just give him constant snark to Batman until he just snaps and tells him to fuck off.
Put Damien on dispatch in the Batcave. Okay.
Yeah, just put a 13-year-old boy in front of endless computers. Just so much internet porn. Just so much internet porn.
Oh my god.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the Oracle without like hardcore hacking skills is just a really sad story.
Wait till Damien discovers Rule 34. We'll lose him forever.
Oracle's kind of badass though, because she got fucking maimed worse than like any of the other Batman family did by Joker, and she's still like rolling into work the next day to get shit done.
Yeah, that's why Barbara Gordon's my favorite. Probably I've said from Dick, my favorite Batman family character, because she does not give a fuck.
She's a hard ass, like because you know she's Batman, but at the end of the day, she's fucking Gordon. She's like a old dude who's like seen the worst shit the city has to offer, and she's still putting foots in asses. She can't move her foot, but you know what I'm saying.
I thought Batgirl would have been the logical place for the Nolanverse to end, instead of Joseph Gordon-Levitt being Robin.
Dude, no.
Jim Gordon's daughter as Batgirl. I thought that was a logical place.
Come on, let's not go down the Nolan ending to the. Whatever.
I quite like the Nolanverse apart from the ending. I have to say. Anyway.
Yikes. Yeah, Damien needs to go be Dick Grayson's partner, Nightwing and Robin. I would buy that comic, and Batman can have lots of Robins.
I still like Batman and Tim. I like Bruce and Tim. I think they work well.
Oh yeah, Batman and Tim's really good, but they're also a little bit redundant at this point. And let's be honest, Bruce doesn't really get along with grown-ups. His best friends are kids. That's why he works with Robin. Once Robin's reaches a certain age, it's like he kind of doesn't know how to talk to him so much. He gets quiet and distant. I think she should go back with Tim, because I think Tim's the best Robin.
Yeah, Tim is my favorite Robin.
Tim's sick, but Bruce, he only likes to hang out with little kids, man.
We should probably give some context to that. We make Bruce Wayne sound like a budding pedophile.
I think Bruce Wayne is just, you know, he's a kid in his head.
He's like Michael Jackson. He never grew up.
Yeah. Bruce, whatever happened to him and he went woo off the thing, he's still just a 9-year-old boy in his brain. Like, he stopped there. So, of course he relates to
You can make a real case for that, though. Yeah. Like, you could argue that, well, I don't know, I had to think about it, but clearly there was a developmental fork with the whole parent side and everything.
Yeah, but I mean, to say he's still a 9-year-old in his head, he's a grown man who parades around the city in his underwear, beating people to a bloody pulp and nailing chicks on roofs. So I'm not sure if he's exactly a 9-year-old.
Well, he hasn't actually nailed chicks on roofs. He did that in a bad movie that was not a good translation of a thing.
No, he did it. Did he not do it? Is there not a comic where he nails Black Canary on a roof?
Not one that I've read. If that's some Morrison canon that I'm not familiar with.
It might be Morrison. It might be Morrison.
I don't know what is actually happening in those Batman books and what's going on in his head. Insert in R. No, that's at least that's my headcanon for Batman. He's a fucking 9-year-old in his head, and that's why he relates best to 9-year-old little boys.
Yeah, it's Miller. It's Miller.
Miller.
Yep.
Boy. Oh well. Wait. Well, I mean, Miller Like, The Dark Knight Returns isn't even canon, though. That's Elseworlds. Fucking, what's her name? Cassie, whatever her name is, that Robin?
Cassie Brown, isn't it?
No.
Cassandra
no.
Cain?
No. That's Batwoman. Who? They're gonna blow me up. The red-haired Robin. It was only in The Dark Knight Returns, that novel, that graphic novel.
Oh fuck! I know you're
Carrie
talking
Kelly.
about too.
Carrie Kelly.
Yes,
It's Carrie Kelly. Yes. She not even canon. Never exists. She's the whole thing is just Miller doing cool shit. People love it, and it's good shit, but it's not like in main DC continuity. I didn't make the rules. And besides,
no, I mean,
aren't you even sad about that? He's like a grown-ass, naked old man carrying around little girls in his Batcave. Some weird shit in that book, man.
That is an awkward transition. It's like this girl is basically just a free spirit, and she's like fucking jumping out of helicopters like
and Batman's
30 pages later.
She literally buys a Robin costume at a Halloween costume shop. She wears her glasses as the mask, and Batman's like,
yeah,
you're good enough to be Robin. That's all the training you need. Jesus Christ. No wonder Jason died. Good God.
Yeah, at least in Robin Year One, there's like some implied training process before he started doing crazy shit. Like,
and in main continuity, like after Jason died, like Batman's fucking expectations went up. Tim went through the fucking ringer before he even made Tim put on pants before he became a Robin. Like, he's like, look, there's not gonna be another Jason. You're not gonna die, damn it. I'm sending you. He sent him all over the world, train with all the crazy people, and then come back, and then I'll test you, and then maybe. Batman was nuts. Anyway, you guys want to do balance patches?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I think we covered Atrocitus. I didn't really have a constructed argument, but I guess he feels okay when I fight him. He feels really good, but I don't. It's not like a fucking Black Adam where I feel like if I mess up once, the match is over. I definitely don't get that feeling against him. Any final thoughts on Atrocitus before we move on?
Nope, I said my piece. I hate the character, and I hope he dies.
Okay, there's a whole list of characters I will not change. I'm just going to read them all out real quick. These are characters I would make no changes to.
Okay.
Scarecrow, Darkseid, Harley Quinn, Green Lantern, Flash, Cheetah, Catwoman, Dr. Fate. There are some good characters on that list, but I don't want to make any changes yet. I think all of them all fit within a certain archetype. I want to keep that intact. Even with Catwoman's stupid ass fucking jump 2, even with Dr. Fate's extremely hard to whip punish bullshit, honestly, I wouldn't mind giving Green Lantern 1 or 2 buffs. I think he's really good. I feel like that wall is so shitty, but I still want to leave those alone. So is there anyone on that list you want to jump on? Because I have nothing to say about them, at least as regards to changing them. And I can read the list again. Like, you want to like just touch on Catwoman, maybe?
Catwoman is not an awful lot I would change. I think she's good as is. I'd like to see where she develops. The only really change I think you can make the Catwoman would be frames or damages, or reduce her damage. Green Lantern, I agree. I don't think there's many changes I would make. Is back 1-3? Maybe Lantern's Might. The Lantern Bomb, maybe make the hitbox on that a bit bigger, because I think there's too much space between the mid, the close, and the far, which I think makes it a tad difficult to get. I would give Green Lantern a better backdash. His backdash is atrocious. That's about it.
Well,
go on.
Real quick, we say Lantern's Might. You say give it a bigger hitbox. Are you talking about the constructed lantern that explodes, or are you talking about his Ermac throw?
Oh, sorry, not Lantern's Might. Lantern Bomb.
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
No, if you give Lantern's Might increased range, the throw, you might be in an issue there. Now, I think there's an argument for giving that a bigger range. It had certainly had a bigger one in Injustice 1, but if you find a halfway house between Lantern's Might as it is in Injustice 2 and as it was in Injustice 1, that might work for everybody, because there are times when it should work when it doesn't. On jump-ins, for instance, it doesn't work at all on jump-ins. Um, Generally, I think Lantern's pretty good. I think the Wall is a bit better than you're giving it credit for. I actually quite like his Wall. Um,
Interesting. Okay,
but apart from that, no. Did you say Harley Quinn in there? Yeah.
I did. Well, let me just say this: I would almost give universal cooldown, increased cooldown on every character almost universally. Other than that, I would change nothing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think Harley could probably use increased cooldown on her trait, and maybe more recovery frames on her cupcake bomb. Other than that, Harley is really, really good. I think people are actually, even though she's maybe acknowledged as a top 10, I think she's kind of slept on. You are talking a character with uh, meterless 40% damages, endless mix up, great zoning, really strong corner game.
Yes, that's
She's
her.
she's a very, very, very strong character. And I think if she isn't touched in the balance patch, and I don't really expect her to be, I could see her being top five.
I
Particularly,
think she is top five, honestly.
you do. I think she's just outside it. I think one thing I might change actually now that I look down at my notes is her meter burn cupcakes. Her meter burn cupcake bomb is like 30 plus 30 on block, so it essentially gives you a free gunshot. And if you land a gunshot, it jails into another gunshot. So her zoning is
Yeah.
just really, really, really good.
I have her
And
higher than Deadshot on my list. She's very good.
I maybe wouldn't go that far yet, but I do think Harley is very, very good. But I don't think you can make any changes to her. Um, and I wouldn't make any changes to her if it was left up to me. Cheetah, um, there's not much you can do for Cheetah. She's a lot like Catwoman. She has the tools. And the problem with Cheetah then is her damage is fine. She's plenty of plus frames. The problem Cheetah suffers from is what we touched on earlier as regards Robin and the meter. She just suffers from not being able to produce a lot of meter. But with that said, she does have a plus 37 meterless restand. So when you have that, I'm kind of going to have to say you can hold your lack of meter. You don't need meter. She's great mix-ups. She has a dive bomb to break up the arc of her jump. She's a pounce. Yeah, Cheetah I think is fine. I think people are really sleeping on Cheetah. I expect her to have a good um, upsurge. Fate I wouldn't change because I think people are only starting to kind of explore the possibilities of Fate. So I'd leave that as is. And did you say Flash?
I did.
Flash, yeah. The only thing I'd probably do with Flash is I'd increase his damage. I think you need to work very, very hard for Flash. He's very high execution. He does have mix-ups, but they're not great mix-ups. Um, I think he's to work a bit too hard for what he gets.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think the mix-ups are pretty good.
Okay.
Well,
I'll
it's
just
not just the fact that they're good, but they're side changing sometimes. So it can you can screw with your inputs in a really weird way. But
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's just I would be looking at Flash from the perspective, um, more I suppose from a Robin perspective, in that if Flash gets in, because Flash can quite easily be zoned out. I mean, he has
true.
the shaker thing, the quantum phase thing, and that works well against some characters. It works well against Superman because the recovery on Superman's eye lasers is quite high. For the likes of Batman or Deadshot or Harley, they could give a fuck. So my perspective on Flash is if he gets in, he needs more than good mix up. If it works, you get like 35% damage. It should be good mix up. If it works, you get 50% damage. So I think, and considering he's also pretty high execution and he's quite a technical character,
True.
I would
Well,
say
I do
Flash
agree.
wins.
Execution and damage should at least somewhat align,
Yeah.
because that's the Blue Beetle problem. Is he has mix-ups, but they're not rewarding. We'll cross that bridge soon, but
But I
all
think
right,
that's
you
all
convinced
the
me. I would say higher damage then. I would agree that on a marginal damage buff.
cool. Well, I think that's pretty much. I think that's all the characters you named there, isn't it?
Yeah, although I'll add to your lantern. Like if I had like a freebie, if Ed Boon said buff a character any buff, I I think it would be reasonable to make Green Lantern's back to 3 plus 7 instead of plus 3. Because right now he can't really do anything with that plus 3. The only thing he could do is get a free down 1. But if they're not going to down 1 themselves, then you haven't really got anything after that. And if they do anything other than down 1, then you can't really do anything with those plus frames. And with all the startup on back 3, I don't. really think that's going to break the character. So I think if he's going to deal with all that startup, he should get some decent plus frames on back 2-3. Because back 2-3-3 is a very underrated string. The range is
Agreed.
hella good. That's the one with the Morning Star, basically, the chain and
Yes.
ball.
Um,
And yeah,
I agree that that's a very underrated string. That seems reasonably fair enough to me.
it
If
would
I
be very
was
good, but we'll go on. Yes. Uh-huh.
if I was in your shoes and offered a freebie to buff Green Lantern, um, I'd probably I'd probably give him back his guessing game as regards forward three and the cross up from Injustice One. I think losing that and the minigun and the nerf to Lantern's might, the throw, may have been a bit strong. I don't think it was because I think Lantern's probably fringe top 10. I think he's perfectly fine, but I think that would probably be a risky buff that might pay off in the long term for Lantern.
I feel like he's like the Bizarro Harley Quinn, where he does everything but not nearly as well. I mean, he's still very good. He has a lot of options. And he does have some. He has a lot of strengths, but they're all kind of like 6.9s out of 10.
Yeah,
Um, I thought he still had his mix ups where he does the forward three versus the jump three. I,
he has. I think he has that. But what I'm talking about is when they're knocked down and you walk
uh
over them and then do a forward three. I don't think it's ambiguous anymore. I think it always hits on the
Oh,
same side.
fair enough. Okay. Oh
Um,
God.
because that was a very useful tool for Lantern, if I remember correctly.
Oh no,
Um,
absolutely.
other than that, I mean, he still has back 1-3, which is the best string in the game. So yeah, I think Lantern's fair enough as he is.
Yeah, I mean, God, yeah, I love that string. Yeah, no, okay, and I still, yeah, he's definitely my list of unchanged. Okay, yeah, God, we gotta start speeding this up too. We're running out of time. I got about maybe 20 minutes left. Do you have a
Oh
character
shit.
request?
I could briefly go through Superman, and me as my main, so I could briefly
Do
go
it.
through that.
Sure.
So Superman is basically fine, so not much of a character request. My issue here is I'm seeing people put Superman top five, top three. He's absolutely not. Superman does a lot of things very well, but he does miss out on things. Now, 4-2-3 is a great string, and he can get his damage. The problem with Superman is if you're going to start nerfing, I wouldn't change anything about him. If you're going to start nerfing things with Superman, it's essentially a house of cards. The dominoes will fall quite quickly. That's mixed metaphors, I appreciate. 4-2-3 is great. His zoning is pretty good, but Superman kind of he's almost like Ryu. He does everything at a reasonable level. If Lantern's a 6.9 out of 10, Superman's an 8. But he does have some flaws. He doesn't have any mix-ups. He doesn't really have any 50-50s. His only wake-up is down forward 2, which is unsafe. And actually, since the patches, I've been having some difficulty getting that out. So, and he lost his dive bomb setup. So,
Glad you
my
mentioned
only,
that. I've been having some trouble with input since the patch as well, but go on.
yeah, I'm glad it wasn't just me. The two ways you can play Superman are essentially zoning and kind of mid-range monster. So Scar, for instance, doesn't really zone. You'll see Scar use a lot of 4-2-3s. I much prefer zoning Superman. Um, my only character request is if I can change anybody's mind against nerfing Superman because he's fine as he is. He's a good character. He's probably top 10, lower end of top 10, but he's not as monstrous as people make him out to be. He actually lost quite a bit of damage, and he lost his dive bomb setups from Injustice 1. I didn't play him in Injustice 1. I was a Grundy main, but he was Grundy's worst matchup, so I knew the character. And yeah, that's basically it. Superman, and if you're struggling with Superman, what you're going to need to do is, if he's using 4-2-3, which he will be, you want him to commit to that. It's got good range, it's reasonably safe, but its recovery is massive. If you can get him to commit to a 4-2-3 and just backdash out of it, or ensure he doesn't hit it, you have a free combo punish on him. And that's essentially the great chink in Superman's armor. So yeah, that's Superman. So
No, I think it's not that I disagree with you. It's just I think he's still. I don't think he's fine. You're saying a lot of true things, but I do not think he's fine. Yeah, I leave really his properties alone, but I feel like for what he has, is that damage necessary? I mean, it's that trait is super good, and I know you say he doesn't have mix-ups, but is that trait not in a way sort of like, um, I guess its own type of mix-up? I feel like we'll go on, say more.
Well, I guess I think it is necessary because if we're talking about having to compete with the likes of Batman and Darkseid, I think it is, and equally, I mean, without meter, even let's say even if he has trait, his highest combo is going to be like 31, 32% with meter. Now that I appreciate with trait. Now I appreciate that's quite heavy, but compare it to characters like Catwoman or like Harley, who can get or Batman who get unbelievable damage. And I appreciate that if he gets to 4-2-3 going with trait, because it's essentially an insta cancel, so 4-2-3 trait, forward 2, meter burn, breath, back 3, jump 2, forward 2, down forward 2, down back 1, is a very, very simple day one bread and butter combo that I still use, and it's about 42%. And it's not even optimal.
You're not selling me.
I would just say that I think if you take away the damage, you're going to leave Superman somewhat neutered in that he's going to do everything, but he's not going to take any kind of bites out of people with it, if that makes sense. Whereas, and I appreciate if our strategy is over nerfing, then we should take away his damage. But what I'm saying is he's not Black Adam. And if you're talking about Black Adam having a touch of death, Black Canary has a touch of death, Superman does not have a touch of death.
I have to at least say this. If Black Adam's going to lose his damage, Superman has to get a nerf. He has to get some sort of damage reduction. Does that sound right? Or would you at least go in that middle road right there? Come on, man.
Okay, I guess I would, but...
What do you mean you guess?
I'm hesitant to lose my damage. I mean... yeah, he's a good character. He's a powerhouse character. I'm triggered by seeing people put him in top 5, and he's really.
I agree, he's not top 5. I definitely agree with that.
And I think if we're taking away some damage, I don't know. I'd like to get something in return for the damage. Maybe less recovery frames on my down back 3. I think, because if we're going to take away his damage, then his zoning should get maybe slightly better.
See, the thing is, if you nerf the top 5, the mid tier are glowing and holes. Yes, go on.
I was just going to say, with the exception of 4-2-3, he doesn't really have any great strings. He's got 2-2 and 2-2-3, which is reasonably safe and a decent mix-up. And 4-2-1-3 is good for when people start blocking 4-2-3. But apart from that, if you're going to take away the damage he gets, he's kind of a go-nowhere character almost. And I appreciate he'd still be like top 10, top 12. I'm very hesitant about fucking with Soup's damage.
I just feel like your go nowhere Superman is still beats the fuck out of my Beetle. Like wrecks my Beetle.
Yeah, but I think that's the problem with your Beetle and not with Superman.
Okay, all right.
I still have a lot of problems with Blue Beetle. I mean, Blue Beetle still fucks me up once he gets in. I can't get him off me.
I don't know if I don't know. I feel like if the top 5 get nerfed, that damage has got to go. I still think he'd be really strong. So
okay, I guess it depends on the rest of the nerfs. I mean, if we're talking a minimal nerf,
yeah,
and we're talking so Black Adam's damage gets nerfed, and maybe a few inputs here and there, that's it, and then Superman gets a damage nerf, I call bullshit on that. If we're talking an overall balance patch where everybody gets hit with something, then I'd take a damage nerf from Superman. Yeah, that seems fair enough.
I also don't know if he's straight 8s either. I think that zoning is pretty exceptional. I think that zoning does kind of go above his other attributes, in my opinion.
I'd agree he has very good zoning, but calling it exceptional in the same game as like Deadshot, Batman, Darkseid, that's a bit Harley.
You can fly up in a corner and shoot people.
Yeah, but you can.
Deadshot can't do that. Harley doesn't do that either. She has a version of it, but it's not anywhere near the same.
Yeah, but if I miss my laser,
are we arguing over like Black Adam does like maybe the most damage in the game?
Yeah,
and you, okay, and so you're like. You're kind of fighting over between Superman and Black Adam as far as just like damage goes, like up there, like I'm trying to see if
Black
if I'm
Canary
getting
do-
the philosophy correct here.
Well, Black Canary does a huge amount of damage, and so
She
does
does?
Cheetah. Yeah, Black Canary hits like a truck, but they lack tools in other areas, whereas Superman has tools in other areas. And I absolutely agree with that. I would just be hesitant about too much of a damage nerf. Like 10% would probably be okay at a push. Like that'd be the highest I'd go.
Okay. All right. Fair. Yeah, I think that's reasonable too. I think 10%'s okay.
I mean, either way, he's still gonna be fine. This is still Superman.
He's gotta be fine.
He's doing fine out there in the wild. I run into him a lot. He's, and my experience is not the experience because I play Robin. I'm an idiot. But he's still doing fine.
Oh, it doesn't. I'm being overprotective of him. I know. It's just having gone. Maybe it's because having mained Noob and then Grundy, I'm finally maining a top tier character, and I'm not having that end. I never want this to end.
I have no idea what that's like. I have yet to experience this. I've heard rumors.
God,
I played Sub-Zero and MK9. I don't know what any of this is about with top tier damage and what I get. I mean, I get what you're saying, but it's still like, within top, like you're saying, top 5 the top tier damage in the game is what we're talking about here with the changes and adjustments, and it's all good. It's like, spoiled for riches type things. I'm not saying they're invalid. All this is very valid, but they're good problems to have.
They're good. I would accept that. Yeah, they're good problems to have.
I would love those.
I've been hopping in the air like a dumbass with Blue Beetle for a while, so I don't know if I 100% empathize, but I think 10% will get. You can sell me on 10%.
I'm not empathizing. I play Robin. What are you talking about? I've got no sympathy for any of these bitches up there in top 10 who's like, well, I can float over everybody, but I need this. I need this. Well, does he need it? He needs it. He definitely needs it, right?
Is there anything to be said for making 4-2-3 plus unblock? Is there anything to be said for that? I'm just asking.
Is it not?
I think it's like -2 off the top of my head.
That's not even the thing. Like, that's not real. In NetherRealm Studios frames, you can make an argument for neutral, maybe. This is NetherRealm Studios games, though. That's fine. That's good. That's good.
I'd like it to be +5. I think that would.
I would like it if Robin could fly. That would be sick.
I just think having 4-2-3 be +5 would make Superman a complete character. That's all.
Put the buff in a fucking Rolls Royce and ship it to your house. Why don't you?
Boy, I want to know that. This has inspired me. For the next Warrior Shrine, I'm gonna make a gilded Robin wish list, and it's gonna be amazing.
I am as Tom Brady is to Sub-Zero, I am to Superman in Injustice 2.
At least you're honest. Hey, we'll take it.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. I understand.
All right, I think it's time for the next. Yeah.
Takeda sucks.
No, he doesn't.
I understand how this game is played.
There are still people being hit from Takeda's neutral jump punch in Injustice 2. It's actually seeping across
that
game.
shit in my dreams. Oh
yeah, I see it when I close my eyes.
Is ass tier. He's bad.
Tears is right. Next character.
He's very bad. I'm so happy that both of my characters in this game are going to have great down 2s. That's one thing I am very happy about. Sub-Zero's got a great down 2, and Robin does too. It's gonna make me a bad player though. It's gonna spoil me, and I'm gonna keep doing it dumb, way more than I should. But it's so good. And, okay, you guys keep talking about first world problems. I'll be down here with Robin.
Well, speaking of down there, Temp, do you want to talk about Blue Beetle?
Yeah, Blue Beetle's cool. Believe it or not, I think his mobility is so under-fleshed out. I'm really not going to make that many changes to Beetle. All I'm going to do is his standing 2 is going to go from 15 frames to 9 frames startup. It's not forward projecting. I don't know why it has so much startup. The damage on 2-1 command throw is not even that crazy, so I think that would help his offensive game, so he doesn't always have to go for a mix-up. Let's see, standing 3. Wait, no, that's Swamp Thing. Let me go back to Beetle. Here we go. I would do a slight increase on the forward hitbox for Upblade. And that's actually a big buff, by the way, because upblade is what leads into his reach stand. If you have meter and upblade, that's what can link into his back one. So if I can combo that easier, or just have more combo options, that's really going to open up his mix-up game. So that's my other buff. On top of that, I think the only thing I would change is I would give him more damage in the air stab, the Barracuda.
Yep.
I'd give him higher damage in his trait air stab. That's probably the only other thing I would change. And those are my changes. Other than that, it's pretty much untouched.
Yeah,
Oh wait, I'm sorry. I apologize. Get rid of the gap in 111. All right, now go on. Sorry.
I didn't have the gap, but there's too many gaps and too many strings in this game. They're all the changes I would have made to Beetle as well. From what I've seen, I actually think he's a really well-rounded character. He gives me way more problems than he should. His shield gives me no end of fucking problems. I think he's a really good character, and he has to work very hard for what he gets. I think he's the kind of character you need to love the character to play him, like you do, as opposed to Superman. Who, yeah, I like Superman, but you can pick him up. But yeah, I wouldn't touch Beetle much.
He has work for sure.
Yeah, he has to work like a whore.
But he is fun though, and I guess I really like his design in this game for the most part, both gameplay and his model. But
I hate his face.
I like his face. Ultra David didn't like his face either.
I need to get. I have to find a gear piece with a helmet, so I don't have to see his stupid face.
Yeah, I was watching Ultra Chat, and Ultra David was just shitting on his face.
He does actually have
worse when you say it out loud. What's up?
He's got a great. I love his kind of really awkward teenage thing around girls. Like he's a clash quote. He's a clash quote with Poison Ivy, where she goes, "Eyes up here, kid," and he goes, "Concentrate, Jaime, concentrate." Or when Supergirl goes, "You'd be lucky to tickle me," and he goes, "Yeah, I really would." I like that. I appreciate that he's an awkward teenager around girls. That's quite funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of charm to the character.
He's fun to play too. One day, one day I'll play Blue Beetle again.
He was your demo character, right?
He was, and he's still like, even in the game came out, like, as far as like tournament viable characters go, he's the only stance character that interests me very much. Is there another one? I know there's another one. Is there? Maybe I made that up.
I feel like there is, but I can't think of anything right now.
Well,
I don't know.
Does a bow count as a staff?
No. A stance character. Any character.
Oh, stance character.
Yeah. That switches stances.
Ivy has a stance, but no one uses it because it's shit.
No, that doesn't count. That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
No,
How dare you?
Sorry, apologies.
It's okay.
I don't think there's any other viable stance character in the game.
Nothing I can think of. Yeah.
And I like stance characters, and Blue Beetle was that. He was a surprise stance character. I know he was gonna be a stance character, and he was fun. I like both of his versions. I still wish that he had stance cancels. I don't think he does, right?
No, he does now.
No,
he has them. Yes.
Oh, he does have stance cancels.
Well, I mean, it's you cancel out, like, if you do a special move and you do stance. I haven't really messed with it much, but he can go into stance after certain chains and certain specials, right? I thought he could.
All right,
you're the Beetle main.
This sounds like something I'm gonna have to.
I just go straight into stance and play my game. I almost never use vanilla stance outside of like shield footsies. So
okay,
it's just very rare zoning. I don't really. I'm mostly in trait all the time, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna have to do some research then.
It's very well. That's where all his defensive options come from. You need that trait to fucking anti-air, and you need that trait to fucking like do any sort of down one in your footsies. Like, you have to have that shit.
Well, I mean,
also, you can't leak. What's up?
I was just gonna say, I think his footsies are. It's great footsies in his blade stance, but I do like his shield for footsies because it's got great range, and I think it's plus. So I always find that works quite well in footsies. It's
pretty close to plus. It's a -4 in block, so it's super safe.
Yeah, it's pretty much safe.
Yeah, my problem with one of my biggest problems is just combos. You cannot combo into back three after forward 2-3 unless you're in trait. You also lose your down 2, which I think is super important to the character. So I'm pretty much in trait all the time, unless I have to zone. In that case, I kind of default to shield tactics. I'll I mess it up half the time, but I'll try to confirm 4-2-3 and to shield if they block, like stuff like that. He has a ton of options. You just gotta synchronize them.
Yeah, I think he's one of those characters I expect to get a lot better the more the game goes on, because I think he's got a lot of tools. He just takes a lot of work and a lot of execution.
Yeah, I'm checking him out here. I'm in the lab here with some Blue Beetle, and his stance cancels aren't what I would like them to be. They are better than the beta was, definitely. But yeah, I like to do stuff with stances that he can't do. It's okay. He's still good. He's fun. Yeah, I'm talking about staff cancels.
If we're talking about stance cancels, can we talk about Gorilla Grodd for like 2 minutes?
Yes, actually, I have a lot to say about Grodd, so I'll let you
Absolutely.
start.
That is a good character to discuss. Go in there.
Grodd is... Okay, so full disclosure, I have him very bottom of my tier list. That is purely because his Stampede cancels are basically the core of the character, and they are hugely difficult to do. His archetype seems to be as a grappler with slight range when he's got his trade up, but his idea is he's a gorilla, he's in your face, he's strong, he's smashing shit. I think the biggest change and the most important change they can make with this balance patch is to make Stampede cancels easier to do. And that's honestly one of the only changes I would make to Grodd. I'd probably increase the damage on some of his strings, considering that's the only way you essentially get combos is from meter burning his strings. But the main change, and he's no real neutral either, which makes it so fucking difficult for him, but I think it's really important that the Stampede cancels are made easier. And even though we may be opening up a can of worms if we make them so easy that he becomes kind of A-list Johnny Cage, I think it's a risk worth taking, because otherwise this character will never be viable. Thoughts?
Well, you see, the thing is, I play a Gorilla Grodd all the time.
You poor bastard.
Well, not as him. I play against him. And
against him. Oh, okay, that's all right.
Yes. He was too difficult for me, but God, I actually do think there's a lot there. I don't think he'll ever be good, but I do think there's a lot of potential. And man, I have struggled against Grodd. Like, once you play a good Grodd, the struggle is so real. Let me talk about what he does well. For one thing, regarding his neutral, no one is really using Secret Sweep. People need to really understand that range. Yes, it's negative, but no one's going to be able to use a normal to punish that. And when he gets that knockdown, he's in. He doesn't need a neutral game anymore. He's in. He's got his Oki set up, and his Oki is actually really good in my opinion, especially if he has trait. So that's one thing I think people are really overlooking with Grodd. The second thing people are overlooking is his damage. Again, with trait especially, his damage is really good, and it really hurts. And I think the one thing that people aren't looking over, but they're just not good at it yet, is the leap. Just to disclose, Redman is the Grodd I play, and the ambiguity on his leap is insane, because he's not necessarily trying to jump in on you. It's not like he's trying to do like a rainbow arc so you can perfectly down to him. No, he's going behind you. He's going in front of you. He's making you anticipate.
The stuff he's saying is very true. As a Robin player who's on the ground instead of flying around, a good Grodd dude is tricky as shit. He's weird. He moves weird. He jumps weird, and those. I mean, is it a vortex he does? Is that his deal? Because it seems like a vortex. It feels like a vortex when it's happening.
He does have a vortex. He has a high-low vortex he can do after back two, which he can combo do from his leap. Well, I'm sorry. Go on. Yeah.
No. I'm agreeing. I'm really just highlighting what you said. That yes, he's got some dirty shit, weird shit. But I'm not saying that he's not at the lower end of the totem. But he's got some shit that's really good and dirty in there. So I don't know what to do to that dude. That dude's I don't know. Because you do too much and he's gonna go crazy. He's gonna kill everybody.
I don't know. I think like he's I get why people think he's so bad, but I think there's like some very hidden dirt in there, and
That's what I'm saying. It's not even that hidden. It's just no. I'm just sorry.
It's
I'm
hard.
agreeing.
It's very hard to use.
I'm agreeing. He's got some dirt in there. Anyone who's willing to like stick with him and learn him and do this shit, like, it's crazy. It's in there. So that's why I'm scared to nerf him, because he's already good for the people that want to play him. But
and he also has projectile invincibility in a game called Injustice 2, which is a very big deal.
It's a thing.
So I would make changes to Grodd. I would get rid of all his gaps, all of them. Just they're all gone now. He is gap free. As for his pressure, and I talked about this a little bit on TYM, I like the fact that it's hard, because the fact that it's hard, would anyone be talking about Omega K if his dash pressure wasn't hard? Like, that's what I like about it. It does a service to players who are able to do that stuff, because they're able to make names for themselves. So
okay.
I don't know if I change. We've said a lot. What do you think, Evan? What do you got?
Well, I think maybe where I'm coming at it from a different angle is I haven't played a good Grodd. The Grods I've played online have. I was playing Superman, they were playing Grodd. It didn't really go well. I'm not being a dickhead, but he does struggle to get in. And like when he's doing his leap and I'm doing an air laser, I'm just going to blast him out of the fucking air. So okay. I suppose there is that issue. I mean, where I come from it is, I was slightly more concerned that the pressure is all he had. But if you're saying that he's got a vortex and that there's various pieces of dirt on him, okay, I would just be more concerned that while there may be dirt there, if we continue to have kind of the entry-level execution so high for Grodd, then we're not going to get enough players playing him to really get to that dirt. And I appreciate that it means people like Omega K who can consistently do the execution make a name for themselves. But I would be more concerned with making the character tournament viable more quickly, because I think he's very enjoyable to watch and he's very hype.
Well, I'll definitely say this. I don't enjoy playing as Gorilla Grodd. Now, Redman disagrees, but even at playing at the high level, Gorilla Grodd is like Beetle times 10 in terms of just like having a day job and making a character work.
Yes.
That is, even if you're right, if the dirt's there and it's accessible, I don't see anyone doing it. Not when someone like Black Adam exists.
That's
so
true.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. But I have tried, fought, and lost against Grodd so many times, and it hurts so bad. Oh my god, fucking Redman. That matchup is so... What makes it even worse is when I'm playing Grodd, I feel like I'm not playing Injustice. I mean, God bless Redman. His Grodd is insane, but I feel like I'm not playing Injustice. I feel like Grodd's a whole different game. It's a whole different mentality fighting that character, but that secret sweep, though, once he gets that knockdown, you're in Grodd City. I really believe that. He's got so much crazy shit, and I feel like his dash, if it is punishable, nobody's punishing it. I don't know what the frame data is off the top of my head, but I feel like it's Sub-Zero's back 2. Like, Sub-Zero's back 2 was super punishable. Nobody punished it. Nobody. Even in
I know what you mean.
You never saw people punish that, so I don't know. The pushback definitely helps Grodd out quite a bit, but
there's a lot of pushback on that, yeah. I think a forward 2, again, Superman forward 2 might get it, but it may be tight on the frames.
Yeah, well, I mean, if he can get Dr. Fate, I think he could probably get Gorilla Grodd as well. And that's something. I think Gorilla Grodd's always going to lose hard as a matchup. So there's just, there's not a lot you can do about that. Yet. We'll see. I'm not against buffing him. I definitely don't think he's the worst in the game. I give that to Captain Cold. I think Captain Cold is the worst in the game.
See, I'm hesitant to say that because I think Cold has a huge amount of potential. We just need to find a way to make his trait work. If his trait works, I think he's pretty good. Mind you, I haven't gone in depth on Cold yet. I've only ever fucked around with him for a few minutes. But he's definitely bottom 5 for me. But I think... okay, I'll put it this way. I think to be viable, Grodd needs buffs. I think Cold could conceivably become viable without buffs, if that makes sense.
It does make sense, but I think in terms of just playability, Cold is almost as bad as Grodd. He is not fun.
Oh yeah,
he's like the least fun character I've ever played.
I mean, I think it's quite notable that before the game dropped, Sonic Fox was a hardcore Captain Cold main, and I don't think I've seen him play Captain Cold once since the game came out. Because Captain Cold is clearly not a fun character to play.
Yeah, I just God, I feel like I'm walking underwater. I do have some buffs for him. Walk speed was one of them, but
Yeah, that's the main one for me. Just more mobility in general.
yeah,
And
just
more
oh
damage. He
God.
seems to struggle for damage whenever I see him.
His damage is alright when I can fucking hit the guy. Like I feel like when I can finally get a back three going, it's not so bad, but it's still mediocre. Like it's not Beetle bad, but it's still not a lot considering the work you have to do. And
This fucking video game is so fucking weird. I fought I fought a lot of Captain Colds, and to anyone who's decent with Captain Cold, that's not a cakewalk. It's pretty tough actually with Robin, obviously. So I mean, I'm not saying that makes Captain Cold he's a good character. That's not what that means. That means that Robin must be, boy. Robin's got some problems.
I like the way everything comes back to Robin having problems.
It's all about Robin having problems. In case you haven't caught on, this is the Robin Gets Wrecked podcast. But boy, Captain Cold, that's my intent here. Like Captain Cold has good shit, but all these characters have good shit. It's just a matter of, is their good shit as usable as other characters' good shit? And it's not. Robin has good shit, but it's not as usable as Batman's Battering.
well, the character you play is always going to be the lens of which you see the game, and
Well,
that's
yeah.
kind of why I think I'm having. Well, first of all, I don't play the game as much as you, so I don't have to deal with my own character's problems. I don't have to encounter them very often. So,
And yeah, I'm
especially
very
when playing
aware of
Green
my.
Lantern all the time.
I'm very aware of that lens and the bias and all that, and that's why my list of balance changes is what it is. It's don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. Just you guys do a thing over there. I'm salty and biased over here. So
Well, I think you're the only one playing the game right, to be honest with you, because you really do need to hone in on one character and really refine all their situations. I really think that's the right way to play a fighting game. Where I'm doing like Catwoman every other fucking match, is not how you play a fighting game. I'm not good at Injustice right now because of that, in my opinion. I still have a long way to go.
the biggest thing that I like, and this is the whole reason why I like fighting games and wanted to do this podcast in the first place. I just like playing online a lot. I like playing against like just a random fucking sea of random and seeing what's out there, seeing what people are doing, seeing what's working and what's really not working, because you know the shit that works rises up to the top real fast and you see a bunch of it. And there's just a lot of good shit with a lot of different characters in this game. I'm running into it every day. I'm getting bopped by it every day, and I do my fair share of bopping, but I get bopped a lot too. And Captain Cold's on that list. Gorilla Grodd is definitely on those lists. Like these characters, they got good shit when they can get it out, and Robin they can get it out on. So that's why I'm nervous about patching. I keep saying the same thing. I'm nervous about patching. You guys are
You're
probably
the only one I
right.
met who's nervous about Cold, though. You're the only one I know who actually has been like, I don't know about that Cold character.
Well, maybe
Yeah, I
that's.
think
Maybe they
we can
really just got
safely
me
say Cold
scared.
War.
I'm so scared in this game. Everyone's terrifying. Because I'm fucking Robin. Everybody's scary, man. Jesus, Alfred would fucking freak me out in this game.
But Alfred's
Well,
not
Alfred's fucking
not
swole in the comics, but what's
Yeah,
up?
Alfred's a beast.
I thought he died.
Oh, he's dead
Well,
now.
we all thought that, but he didn't.
Oh, did he not? I never.
What's
read
up?
I thought he died.
I think he's alive in the comic right now,
he?
is he not?
I thought he died.
Well, he did die. They retconned it, like, hardcore.
Oh, did they? Oh.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I'm not 100% on... Well, I mean, he can't die, because the guy who killed him died in the Injustice 2 flashback, so I don't... If he did die, I don't know. The Alfred shit in the comics is super confusing.
Well, it's canon that he knocked Superman out, so at least there's
He did,
that.
he did.
Yeah, that is...
He knocked Superman out like a bitch.
He did. That's the thing, and Harley
Harley
talks
mentioned
about
that.
it in the game.
Yeah, she does.
Harley.
Okay.
Okay, so what are you guys thinking about Cold? Because obviously you guys aren't as scared of him as I am.
I haven't
Yeah.
really played him beyond Smokeman, and even Smokeman's cold. It's hard for me to get anything started. They all try to go for trait, and they just can't. That ice block just doesn't give them the mileage they need. So I'm
So
gonna
I think-
speed up trait. What's up?
I agree with you entirely. Don't think the ice block gets you much. I think you need to go for full trait and just get the insta freeze. I think that may be the way to go with Cold. Again, I've played like 10, 15 minutes with Cold in the lab, but to me that seemed the idea with Cold. So what I would do is I just speed up his trait. because I don't have the experience with Cold to say other things. But walk speed, mobility, and trait would basically be my main changes to Cold. I think Cold is a very setup heavy character, and they tend to improve as the game goes on.
Yeah.
He does struggle to open people up. So I still think mobility and a quicker trait would probably be all I'd do for him at the moment.
It's almost like he's NetherRealm Studios' version of Phoenix Wright in the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 game. That's how I feel like he's supposed to be, where he has like this mountain of cool shit, but he just can't push it through the door because the manhole's too small. I can't get it to the surface, So, here's the thing: if we speed up his trait, it's what? It's basically as good as Canary's trait, and Canary's already a decent character, from my understanding. So, I mean, right? Because you can block it mid. That's think true. So, right? So basically,
I think
he has Canary's trait. What's up?
Well, the difference with that, I think, is Canary is just so much better than Cold in every way. I mean,
yeah.
Mobility, damage, mix-ups. Canary's a very scary character to me.
And she doesn't have to do shit to charge her trait. That shit works over time, by itself.
And it charges quickly as well. It charges surprisingly quickly.
So get Cold a better battery. That's my thing.
Yeah, get him a better gun as opposed to some piece of shit water gun.
Yeah, fucking gear that shit. Wow, so that covers Cold. I think one character we're both very interested in is. Well, do you have anything else about Cold or?
No. Go on.
I was gonna say Wonder Woman. I think we both kind of have an interest in that character and feel like she's been kind of screwed by the inputs, especially. I'll just say right now, if you fix the inputs, she'll be way better.
Oh yeah, if you fix the inputs, she'd be top 15.
I don't know if I go that far, but yes, I think she'd be much, much better. Well, no, you're right. I just said that, I think, a few podcasts ago. So yes, I do agree with
her
that.
damage is just fucking colossal, and she's a very kind of, I suppose, straightforward character. But you could make two very, very quick, very simple fixes to Wonder Woman, and I think she'd be a contender for top 10. Fix the inputs and give her a proper trait, and done.
Well, when I say fix the inputs, just to clarify, I mean like the unintended shield when you don't want shield, and the unintended lasso when you don't want lasso. I actually don't. Yeah.
I mean them, but I would have included how tight the back 3 window is.
I learned to do that though, and I got good with it. So I'd feel kind of robbed if they fixed that. It's the same thing with Batman. I'm actually really good at linking Batman's back 2-2-3 into
a 4-3
into his back 3.
Oh, back 3, Jesus.
Yeah, so if they fix that, I want to be pissed, like super pissed.
Well, no, I can't do the back 3 link at all. So I mean, I'm speaking for the everyman on that one.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, it makes you feel so fuzzy. Like I always tell Smoke Man, did you see that shit every time I land it?
Yeah, it's people who haven't played Wonder Woman wouldn't get it, but every time I see it land, I'm like, nice.
Yeah, I love the nice factor in fighting games. That's why I'm so pro execution, but because I work so hard for that nice. Now the Gorilla Grodd shit I can't do. I'll probably never be able to do.
Yeah, that's very difficult. But
the Wonder Woman, like I fucking put on some Deep Purple and I grinded that shit out for an hour, and now I'm able to do it. So yeah, I would say turn her back to instead of 21 frames. Gosh, why is it 21 fucking frames? I know it's a combo starter, but jeez, and change that to what number did I put? 16. I'd make that 16 frames.
Okay.
And that's it. That's pretty. Or trait 2. I would reduce cooldown. But go on.
Oh, so just on the trait, all you do is reduce cooldown.
I guess I'm not really decided. Would you want to merge her trait? What would you want to do?
Well, I'd want to change her trait altogether. I'm not sure if we can do this with just a nerf, with just a patch in terms of the mechanics of the game. But if you remember in Injustice 1, everyone said Harley's main problem was she had a random trait. You can't really build a game plan around a random trait because it'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
If you just take Wonder Woman's trait and say, okay, if you press back trait, you get the shield boost. Up trait, you get the air dash. Forward trait, you get the lasso boost. And you take the randomness out of it. I think that would make the character much more efficient. Because if you have I've never been a huge fan of randomness in a fighting game character. I think it defeats the purpose of the game if you're just essentially rolling a dice, and not rolling a dice in terms of do I go for the combo? You're rolling a dice in terms of what am I going to get. I don't like that character design. I don't think it works, and I think it fucks Wonder Woman over.
Well, I just don't think a lot of her trade options are very good. Because
I
they're
think
so
the
situational, like her lasso's better. When the fuck am I going to land a lasso in the neutral?
Oh, I disagree entirely. I think the lasso is a really good neutral too.
Oh, interesting.
I think the lassos. I mean, it can be kind of dangerous against the wrong character, but I think the lasso is a really, really good neutral too.
Okay, well, let me tell you what I'm doing in the neutral. I'm in the neutral. If I have meter, I basically fish for a dash and a meter burn for the plus frames to get them in the corner.
Yeah.
And once I'm close, I'm basically trying to land a 2-2-3 or just a 2-2 into some sort of safe, some sort of safe tactic. Or I'm trying to do it down 1-2. Well, I'm just trying to bridge that gap and get them in the corner. And I haven't figured a way to work lasso into that strategy. And if I did, it would probably have to take the place of my back forward three. And I don't know. I'm kind of married to that back forward three now. So maybe say more. Well, how are you working in lasso?
Okay. Well, bear in mind, I haven't played Wonder Woman since the the multiverse event where you got the movie gear.
Okay.
What my plan with Wonder Woman was essentially you keep out a mixture of lasso and shield toss, and you keep backdashing away. So you're trying to invite them onto you. What you want them to do is you want them to come at you really, really quick, and because you want them to try and get past the range of your lasso and your shield toss, and from there, then you can start working your 2-2-3s, your back two, meter burn back three, that kind of stuff. I do like her down 1-2 combo. I think is very, very good.
Okay.
I really like that as an opener, but she isn't really my style, so that probably doesn't really help much. In that I'm trying to play her as kind of a pseudo zoner where she really isn't. But that's how I worked in the lasso, because I think the lasso actually hits for pretty heavy damage, especially if you get the lasso buff from the trait. It can hit like a truck.
Yeah, I'm trying to play her as like this footsie character, and all I'm really doing is fucking whipping air shield all the time.
Yeah,
And I need to. Yeah.
I think she needs to be played as a rushdown character, because you're a footsie guy, I'm a zoner guy. I think she needs to be played as a full-on fuck it rushdown. But she doesn't seem quick enough to do that.
Nor is she really safe enough to do that. I mean, if you're not burning meter, she's not the safest character.
Yes.
You can start a combo with back two, but you're gonna get blown up in that 20 frame recovery. So you need
Look,
to make it safe with distance, but even that's not easy in my opinion. So yeah.
I do think she's bottom five. Uh, she has some nice tools, but really yeah, I never want to say this, but if we're going to talk about characters who we need to kind of buff to try and bring up to viability, I'd almost be tempted to call Wonder Woman a lost cause, chalk her up the bad character design, and say fuck it.
Yeah, at the very least, I would. I think your idea works really well. I don't know how viable her other trade options are. All I know is air dash is good and damage boost is if it works the way I think it works, it's good. I just haven't messed around with her other stuff, so I'm afraid if you took out the randomness, no one would use the rest of the traits. But I figured if you either buff the trait just in terms of properties, or if you just reduce the cooldown by a lot, or better yet, make traits safer. Don't put me in an unsafe, state whenever I go into trait. Don't punish me for using that fucking character's trait.
Yeah, that could be viable if you can kind of cancel into it in the middle of a combo and it doesn't interrupt your combo,
Yes,
and then you can
definitely.
you can improvise on the fly. If you say you get the lasso boost, you walk into a combo that brings you into lasso boost, etc., etc. That could be an idea. Yeah.
Okay, and well, that covers my Wonder Woman stuff. Any other Wonder Woman stuff before we move on?
Nope. That's basically it. Yeah, that's basically. Oh, that if you're going to one thing I saw that you may have seen is that if you're playing with rushdown, if you end your combo with 1-3-3 and then with back forward two, you actually recover just in time for them to get up, and I think you're safe from wake up. So that's an interesting tool. So if anybody's listening who does play Wonder Woman rushdown, apparently if you end your combo with 1-3-3 and with back forward two, that's what I have here is a way to stay in.
Oh, actually, no, I'll make note of that. I need to go back to her. I really thought she was fun, but I was just struggling. I got
No,
sick of losing, basically.
I didn't find her fun at all, I have to say.
Yeah, there was a lot of salt with that character. I would say that, like I said, we're running super short on time. I would say Ivy, just real quick. I don't have any changes with her. I would put a lot of cooldown on her trait. I think her trait is one of the best in the game.
I think it is the best
The
in the
match
game.
essentially stops once she gets that shit out.
Yeah, I would. To be fair, I actually think her at the highest level, her execution is very very difficult. Dragon gets it, but Dragon has really underrated execution. Dragon has very very good execution. I think her matchups are always very polarized. I think she either wins very heavily or she gets beasted. She has good neutral. She's good safety. I think the problem is she's a bit of a hybrid that she can rush down and she can zone. She's probably more of an anti-zoner than anything else, but the command grab and her stance are very very rush down. I think overall she's a defensive character. I think she struggles, and the reason she's in top 10 is something of a jack of a Jill of all trades. But she's definitely on the defensive side. I would agree that she needs far more cooldown on trait. But equally, to counterbalance that, I would make her trait do more damage. I think because she's centered around getting the Yoshi thing up, because she's centered around that, if you make that an excessively long cooldown, I know that's not what you're saying, but if say we patch it and the cooldown is too long, we're hamstringing the character. I never want to do that. Now, I don't like the character, and I always struggle against her for some reason. And I think she's one of those. Her and Brainiac are two characters that absolutely need a stick, not a pad. They need a stick to be done properly. But I would agree more cooldown on trait, but equally another couple of percent per trait fireball.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would agree on that. I mean, more damage on traits. I mean, okay. I definitely don't think it would hurt the character. Like, I don't think it would put her into some plateau way up in the sky. Because really, damage is not the problem I have with Ivy. It's just once that trait's out, I feel like I can do nothing. I feel like I have no options.
Well, yeah,
Because what she does
Beetle
is you
would
try to, yeah.
Well, if you're playing Beetle or Lantern, I could see how they'd struggle. I mean, with Superman, you pick your time, you jump down back one in the air, problem solved. But it can absolutely be a lockdown. It's when she gets the drill going and the trait going. I mean, I've heard Cyborg on the Nethercast say she needs that if the slide was a regular move instead of ability, or her projectile was a regular move instead of ability. If that happened, she'd be top 5.
Yeah,
She'd be a
she'd be
serious
really
fucking
good.
problem. So I
Well, I
like her
don't
as it
think
is.
Cyborg. I think Cyborg's kind of. I don't think he wants that slide anymore. Well, I can't remember exactly what he said precisely, but I think he's pretty much down with Vanilla Ivy now.
Well, Vanilla Ivy is fine. I mean, I'd probably have Vanilla Ivy 12th or 11th. I don't think there's anything wrong with her.
She's
I
in
just,
Bane territory, in my opinion.
yeah, I'm still not sure on Bane. I've yet to touch him, but however, yeah, I'd agree with that change to Ivy.
And I mean, the hardest part is you can't even meter burn through her trait, because even if it hits, assuming your armor wasn't broken by the shot, you will eventually get sniped before you go into any sort of combo or juggle. So it's based. I mean, at best, she has a chance to get back up, but yeah, other than that, that's all I change out for Ivy. Her trait is just crazy good. So I think we have time for maybe 2 more characters. Who do you? I'll let you choose the last 2. Who do you have in mind, man?
There's nobody I really want to go ham on. I suppose if you were to put me on the spot, I'd probably say Supergirl
Okay.
and Cyborg or Brainiac. So you choose Cyborg or Brainiac.
Okay, I will. I don't. Little temp lore here. I have not unlocked Brainiac on either console yet, so I can't
Cyborg it
really
is.
Yes,
That's a good strat. I use that strat.
Well, let me take that back, because I think Brainiac, at least from what I see, looks like he has potential, and everyone's saying he's trash. But his dive kick seems okay, and he's got this amazing cross up, and his range seems good. So maybe we'll do Brainiac just so you guys can show me the light.
Well, I can't show you the full light, but I've taken a brief tour of the character. I think you're right. I think he's less trash and more underrepresented. He's another character with very very high execution, and not high execution necessarily in terms of buttons. High execution in terms of your Yomi, your understanding of a fighting game. The problem Brainiac has with all of his tools is essentially there are other characters who get so much more for so much less effort than Brainiac. Moreover, he absolutely needs a stick. I don't know why, but it's something that I've seen mentioned several times. A Brainiac needs a stick. He's high execution. With that said, he has fantastic wake up game. He has really good mobility. He's fantastic range. He's great damage. He doesn't really fit into the archetype of Injustice 2. He actually feels to me like an Injustice 1 character, in that he's somewhat blocky, he's somewhat kind of slow in his movements, and you need to know his bullshit to play him and to defend against him. With that said, I think people are playing Brainiac the wrong way. And I think it's because Wound Cowboy tried to pick up Brainiac at the start. I'm not sure if he still is. I haven't seen him play since the first couple of days. He tried to play Brainiac in the kind of classic Wound Zoner thing, because Brainiac's trait would indicate to you he's a zoner. Brainiac should not be played as a zoner. He is, to me, a footsie character. He's a relatively strong footsie character who probably needs a better trait. Now, in terms of changes that should be made to Brainiac, I do think he needs an overall buff. He's probably bottom 10, so more damage, probably more positivity, and more positive frames, I should say, quicker frames. The biggest change would probably be make sure his trait stays regardless of hit or block. So you call the trait in, you call the beta strike, you get the strike, regardless of if you get hit or if there's a block, or if you have to block something, it comes in. Aside from that, Brainiac is not as bad as people say he is. I think he's very underrepresented. I wouldn't be surprised to see him break out in the upcoming, in say the next year, but he's not. He doesn't have the potential to be top 10. I'll say that much. But he's probably not. He could probably make top 15 at a push, but you're not missing out too much from leaving him locked.
I mean, it all makes sense. I almost called it from day one that the zoning Brainiac didn't really make sense. I feel like Footsie's were the way to go. How about the dive kick, man? Is the dive kick, like, is that worth it? I mean, I know it can lead into some cool stuff, but is it worth using in the neutral?
Well, again, I haven't gone balls deep on Brainiac. It's not Black Adam levels of worth it.
I hope not.
I think no, you see a lot more of it with Black Adam levels. It's probably worth it because I don't think he has a lot of other options. I could be wrong on that. I don't think he has a lot of other options in the neutral besides playing footsies, which he's good at because he's got good range. It's probably worth breaking out. I mean, we're not talking Black Adam, Kung Lao, where it's the foundation of your game, but it's a useful tool, or Kung Jin, but it's a useful tool. Yeah, I'd argue it's worth it.
Fair enough. Okay, I will unlock him just because I feel like he's a really good fit for me.
Yeah, I think you might enjoy him. Actually, I think you might enjoy him.
I've had a bit. One reason that turned me off the character is I didn't have time for story mode. I would rather be playing with Matt. I've learned like 5 characters, so I didn't need a 6th. That's one reason why I didn't unlock him. The other reason is in game I don't like his model. Like
yeah, I know.
I don't want to disclose anything too personal, but like when I look at his skin, it makes me think of illness. And if you've lost someone in your family due to illness, like it psychologically rubs me very wrong. Yeah, so I would need to put some gear on him. That's definitely something I'd have to fix. But other than that, I'm still interested. The character looks really fun.
Well, even then, the problem is the gear makes him look fucking ridiculous. He doesn't have like a full. I know what you mean. I'm not a fan of green skin. He doesn't have a full helmet mask, and all the gear makes him look really ridiculously bulky in the upper body. And most of the shaders suck. His gear really isn't that positive. I mean, I love what they do with Brainiac in story mode. I'm not a huge fan of the model. I would prefer if the model was a bit more streamlined.
It looks like something out of a horror movie, honestly. It looks like something out of Phantasm. I'm not digging it. But you know what, though? I do like the metal. I think the metal is rendered very well. I think the Tron lines look really good, honestly. I think they look great.
I like the Tron lines and the tentacles, yeah.
And Smokeman actually made some really good trolling gear setups for... because it looks so shitty. Yeah, I loved it. I was like, this is hilarious. I can't wait to unlock all this horrible shit. So
yeah, some of his shaders are absolutely hideous. Some of his shaders are hideous.
I'm looking forward to it. And that I wish I had more to say about Brainiac, but that's unfortunately all I got.
That's all I have as well. I haven't. Again, I'm working my way through the characters in order, so Brainiac will be the last one I get to.
Okay, well, Supergirl then, and I know you have a lot to say on that character, so
I wouldn't say I have a huge amount to say. I really wanted her to be my secondary,
yeah.
primarily because then I'd have Superman and Supergirl, and Kara Zor-El is probably my favorite superheroine. Um, Going back to without kind of wishing to go too lore heavy, after Crisis on Infinite Earths in the 80s, she was essentially dead and she was written out of continuity. But she shows up in a Dead Man comic where Dead Man's wandering around Christmas and he's helping people and nobody's acknowledging that he's helping them. And he gets really frustrated. And this blonde girl starts talking to him and says, a true hero is somebody who does things without ever getting the recognition. And he goes, well, and he asks who she is, and she's walking away, and she says, "You won't have heard of me, but my name is Kara." And that's one of my favorite panels. I love Supergirl.
It's okay.
She's
I like that.
I've just a huge soft spot for Supergirl, and she's a very interesting playstyle. I mean, in terms of my, just to give you an idea of how I feel about Supergirl, in my notes when I have if somebody's on the list for secondary, on Supergirl I have absolute bay, but not on the list. I love Supergirl, but the way she plays is very, very strange. I'm not her trait is a good idea. I do like her trait. It makes her quite a strong zoner. I think it probably regenerates a bit too slowly. Her main problem is she has no damage. She lacks damage. She's very, very meter dependent for her damage. Now she's a very good neutral game, I suppose, to compensate for that. Her back one has great range. Her back 1-2 as a string has great range. Her 1-1-2 is safe. It does have a gap, but it's safe. It's got good pressure. Her forward 3 is lovely. It's very ambiguous. It's kind of a meta problem that I mentioned earlier with Django. She seems to be set up to be a jack of all trades, again a Jill of all trades, leaning in a kind of defensive area with the teleport and the zoning. Problem is she doesn't get meter for zoning unless it hits, and even if it does hit, it's very minor compared to, say, the meter Batman would get for his Batarang. Equally, her best way to get damage is probably a meter burn teleport, which is also safe, but you can kind of bait that out. And the main kind of gimmick she has is the mix up between eye laser and teleport, and the way to get out of that, as we found out with Scorpion in Injustice 1, is you just hold down. You don't block back, you hold down. And then that's compensated for by the fact her medium or teleport is overhead. And then from the overhead, you can hit a back 3, and you can go into about, 30%, 33% damage. But that's pushing her limit of damage, 33%. I would say she probably has some of the lowest damage in the game. And as much as I've kind of talked her up and said she's got good mix-up, good range, relatively safe, she has a teleport, the brutal fact of the matter is she does not do enough damage. And so fixing Supergirl would be very, very easy. You add 5% damage. And this would possibly make her slightly too good, and she'd certainly become a scrub killer online because that teleport can be a bastard online. And it's a great way of getting around zoning. So, guys like Django might get into it as a secondary to get past the zoning. But the problem with Supergirl really is that she lacks damage and she's meter dependent. So if you combine, maybe give her meter just for using the eye laser at all, point blank, without it having to connect, and increase her damage, I think then you have a very, very strong character. Thoughts?
I had trouble getting any damage done with her because I actually did put an honest to God effort into learning Supergirl.
Yeah.
And the damage, I was like, okay, well, she has no damage. Fine. I know that bar. I go there many times. I'll be okay. The reason why I dropped Supergirl is I hated her neutral game, and I couldn't figure out why.
I like her neutral game a lot.
I tried to build a footsie game around back 1-2, and I just was getting blown up every time. So I don't think I have the spacing. I don't think my footsie skills are nearly tight enough. I always pump up how much I love footsies. I'm not necessarily good at them. I mean, I balance my love for footsies for my love with safe pressure. That is why I love Green Lantern so much in this game. It's strong footsies, but it's also safe, blockchains. So I get to press buttons without the risks. Supergirl's not like that. You press buttons, you got to make it count. Her spacing is very tight. And if you're successful, there's not the reward isn't necessarily waiting for you at the end of it. There's no pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. So I just got really frustrated, and I could zone with her, but in terms of resource management, my intuition is to save my trade, not to use it. So I wasn't really getting any damage. And even though you do have that mix-up, like for one thing, like you said, hold down, and it kind of nullifies a lot of its effects. Even, with a meter burn, fine, but it's not in my nature to play that kind of weird high-risk game. So I never used it. I never used Spaceport. So I just wasn't having a good time. I wasn't having a good time at all. I think her footsies are good. I don't think I had the space enough, the tight enough space to really make it work. That said, I don't think I would change anything. A damage buff, I'll say yes. I'll agree to a damage buff. I think the character's good, but she doesn't feel good to me. The character feels really weird. Even using trait as a projectile is just so weird for my brain. Trying to wire that into my gameplay is so strange.
I found that quite natural, actually. I rather enjoyed it from a zoning point of view, because the idea is, if you're zoning, you should try and always have a projectile on the screen, is my idea of zoning. That you impose your game on him by just loading the screen with projectiles. So instead of having to do, back forward one, back forward one, back forward one, it's just 4, 4, 4, 4. I found it quite intuitive, actually, to have a trait that is a projectile. And it was interesting to have it as opposed to arrows, where, Green Arrow has that, but a plain arrow does like a single tick of damage. It's worthless. What Arrow's trait is for is to get the effects, to get ice, electricity, fire, or the boxing glove.
Yeah.
I really liked Supergirl's kind of core design of just peppering with eye lasers constantly. I found it quite intuitive. I enjoyed it.
Did you ever go for broke? Do you think it's ever worth it to go full trait and go for the full laser beam?
To close out a round, yeah.
Okay, so it's like X-ray logic then.
Well, not quite X-ray logic, because the idea is if you go full trait and you end the round with full trait, even if it's the first round, then the meter trait bar will probably halfway regenerate by the time the round started up again.
Okay.
So even if it's the first round, you can get it done. Plus, there's the fact that it just looks really fucking cool.
Yeah, I agree.
If you have a life lead and it's doesn't hit for insignificant amounts, hits for 20, 25, sometimes it can be worth it. And I especially love ending a combat with it, because they kind of bounce on it as they fall back. And I think that looks really hype. So I really like going full bar with it. But I think if you're playing her optimally, you don't. You space it out and you pepper them with projectiles.
That's almost a relief, because trying to set up that full meter trade at the same time, though, that's kind of what attracted me to the character, was that badass full meter trade. So it's kind of a shame, but I feel like if I'm trying to utilize his style, it's easier for me to spread that out. So, all right, well, that covers everything we have time for. I wish we could talk about Cyborg, but we're pretty much done.
Yeah.
What's that?
No, just saying cool.
Django?
Yes!
Yes, okay,
Django's
cool.
here.
Anything you want to add? Anything we should add before we shut down, man?
You said it. Both of you guys. You guys said it great. Said it so good. Yeah. I've just had another thought in my head, and it left because it's like almost 6 a.m. It's okay.
It's almost 6 a.m. for you guys? Fucking hell.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
But
It's like noon here.
I just really enjoy the way Tim said that. He sounded how I feel.
Well, I took a sip of my Pepsi. I wasn't quite done inhaling after the ingestion of the fluids.
Boy, it's like a long. I don't know what. Oh,
it was pretty bluesy how I said it.
I thought I clicked something. Okay, you guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
We can hear you. Yeah, you sound
Jesus
good.
Christ, I'm scaring the shit out of myself. I'm pushing buttons on Skype and it's freaking out. I don't know what's going on. This has gone very, very smoothly so far. Let's not jinx it. Got everything recorded. It's been a great episode. Very in-depth. Very, very, very much Warrior Shrine shit. You won't hear this on the Nethercast.
Yeah, fucking casuals.
That yeah.
Filthy fucking casuals.
This you guys know where to come for this kind of fucking shit. Only on the Warrior Shrine. Evan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me, gents.
Huge thanks, dude. For
you
sure.
You still might be my favorite guest.
Aw, you're too sweet.
We'll see. We'll see in the balance change, but I think you're in the running for top tier.
We'll see post patch.
We'll see post-patch, yeah.
And Tip, well done as well. I don't have a Temp Talks question for you because we've asked plenty of questions. Next time, though. Next time, I'll get you. Everybody, thanks for listening. You guys have been sick. Say bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm Batman, I'm Batman, I'm Batman, I'm Batman, I'm Batman. I'm Batman, I'm Batman, I'm Batman, I'm Batman, I'm Batman.